Hello, my Teaserking family. Hope everybody's well today. I'm doing better, although my fucking, I want to say psychotic nerve, my nerve in my back is still hurting. It'll be weird. I'll go swim and I'll soak it in the hot tub and I can ride the bike. Sometimes when I walk, it's painful. Now it's painful. I just took my ibuprofen, which generally helps it. But when I lie in bed, it's fine. When I lie on the couch, it's fine. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with it. My sciatica. I don't know. Sometimes I'm not even sure it's the sciatica because it's right in my lower back, and it just hurts like a bitch. But anyway, the pills will take effect soon. One guy said, you hear so many different things. This is the problem. Who do you trust? So one guy saying, well, don't sit long. And I'm like, well, I sit for 3 hours here. So I'm trying to move the chair sideways, but I think I'm better when the chair is normal. I think the support on my back is much better with the chair like this. I got a little pillow down here. See, I can kind of put my see this feels better than sideways. Once I calm down, I might go sideways. And that's the problem. You get 10 people, they'll tell you 10 different things, and you don't know what's, it's really up to you to do the certain exercises that don't hurt you, that feel good. But when I don't feel the pain, I can do all the exercises. It's when I feel the pain. I don't think this has anything to do with eating. I mean, I'm eating just normal, so I don't think that. I'd be curious what a 48-hour fast would do, if that would help it or not. I'll have to venture in there maybe Monday. I'm very superstitious, so I will not check my Social Security today. It's supposed to be on the second Wednesday, but because it's the 8th, I do not like 8, so I will wait till tomorrow to check. But I have a feeling it's there. I have this feeling, yep, it's in the bank. I even get these feelings that I've texted my friends on WhatsApp saying, yeah, I got the money. So I believe everything will be good. I don't believe it's like you're getting it approved. I think it's just, you want your Social Security, here you go. I don't think they give you a hard time with it. After all, you paid in it. One thing I was looking at yesterday, which was very interesting, and I'll get to it in a minute, is if we had to pay for gold, let's say, so it goes up to 50,000, we want to sell it, right? We got this stupid, what the fuck you call it? Hey, Nick. My back's still bothering me, but it comes and goes, and and there's nothing I don't know what to do. I take my ibuprofen, which seems to help, and I seem to be fine sitting. And fortunately, since I'm not working, I don't have to sit in a chair all day. I'm fine driving, and most of the time when I feel good, I can go to the grocery store. I can cook. So it's like sometimes it's pushing against the nerve. It's hard to walk, and then other times when it's locked in place, I can do anything. Can't pass up KC and 9 just locked in, huge with over. Yeah, I see 1.5. I don't really see 3. I don't know where you're seeing the 3. I looked this morning. I saw 1.5s and 2s, and I saw 50.5s and a 51. So again, that's there. You try to standing task helps me since I work on Excel all day. Well, I would if I was working. Yeah, because it's not on any. Now I go into scores and odds, and when I go into the game, it gives me FanDuel and all these other ones, and they're all 1.5s and 2. But yeah, getting 3 is a good number. And even if they lose by 9, you got to push. So that's a good thing. And remember, I believe if it's a 2-team teaser and you push one of the sides, it's a no bet. Even if you lose the other side, you get your money. It's a no bet because you can't do a one-team teaser. Even if you lose it, you can't. It's not a loss. My buddy is getting hammered with big money on Eagles, so he has no choice. Is your buddy a bookie? Hammered with big money on Eagles. Well, no, I mean, with your proximity and you're in Philly, see, you make a good point there. So he's getting hammered because he's in Philly. And he can use that because in Vegas, what happens is all the LA people come down, right? So LA and San Diego and Oakland was always misspread because the people would drive down for the weekends, right? And they would all bet the Rams and the Dodgers and, the Raiders. So that line would always be adjusted for those bettings. So you can see regionally, you can definitely take advantage. So if you want to bet against the Rams or the Raiders, you do it in Vegas. Here it looks like if I want to bet against Philly like we want to here, then we would bet it with your bookie at the bowling alley there. But again, as I was saying, so if you lose part of as soon as you push on a two-team teaser, the bet goes away. Win or lose the second bet, there is no bet. So don't think, I tied and I lost, so it's a loser. It shouldn't be. Now, again, I don't know all this online crap, but, ask the guy you're betting with or the site. But normally, if you tie on a two-team teaser, it goes to a one-team teaser, which doesn't exist, so it's a wash. If it's a three-team teaser, then it goes to a two-team teaser, right? So that one goes away, and then it becomes a two-team teaser. You get different odds and everything. The line would still be the same, but that's what will happen. So what I saw this morning was Philadelphia minus 1.5. And I think one or two twos, not a lot of twos. And then 50.5, and I saw a few 51s. So right now it looks like, according to what Nick's saying is, I don't know that we'll get KC favored in the game. I think we won't. I think it'll stay at Philly favored. I'm sure there'll be some KC betting. They're probably waiting because if Philly's going to 3, they're waiting. But all I can see is this going to 1, unless on all these fan duels and stuff, then the KC money comes in, but they can just go to New Jersey and get 3 points. So that would be my thing. Philly is a good road favorite, 10-1. Hurst is 24-6 touchdowns, interceptions. Mahomes is 45-12. We know Mahomes will score. It's just too potent of an offense, too many weapons. Philly's not going to shut them down, which is good for the over. We don't see Kansas City. How are they going to shut down? Philly runs it too well. They got receivers. I don't like Hurst. Let's see how he does in a big game where he doesn't choke like he did for Alabama. He choked for Alabama and he choked for Oklahoma. So he hasn't won a big game yet. I can't give him credit for beating Frisco and their 4-string quarterback. So he hasn't really proven to me anything, Hurst. He's like Josh Allen at Buffalo. He doesn't win the big games very often. Burrow does. So I like Burrow. Could easily see either spread winning in a teaser. I could see Philly plus 4.5, not the 3, but the 4.5, yeah. It's a good trap from the standpoint you can my chocolate's melting. This doesn't taste good. Dark chocolate melted, not like milk chocolate melted. Sometimes I put it in my popcorn instead of cinnamon, and I crinkle up the chocolate, and it melts a little because the popcorn's hot. And I put it with butter and salt, and The dark chocolate really doesn't taste that good melted, but you're not eating it for the taste as much as the health and the cocoa. Yeah, I would see Philly in 4.5 winning, and I would see Kansas City in 7.5 winning. I see this as a very close game. I don't see them blowing out KC because of Mahomes. And then Mahomes doesn't blow out anybody. They never cover by a lot. So I can see where, KC just doesn't kill you. Maybe they win, but you're not going to blow out Philly either. That's why I like Philly as the dog. I would prefer Philly as the dog. That would have been a bigger bet because I love the over, but then and my spread's Philly -3. So we're right on where the spread should be. 1.5, I think, is cheap. I don't really get that line. Where are they coming with the 1.5? If you're going to do that, just make the game even and then pick the winner. What Vegas doesn't understand is they're actually allowing the teasers to play. I could take KC at 7.5. My silver streak. Just overall good. But anyway, so they don't understand that, right? They're not, you're giving me 7.5, but why don't you just make it even? What's the difference? And I don't understand the money line bettors. I've never, ever bet money line. I don't understand the point of it. Mostly because I do teasers. So if I need, why would I bet a money line when I can take Philly in 4.5 or KC at 7.5? And as we know, it's not really hard for me to find a second game to bet it, as we've taken the over. But why would you bet the money line? The odds are bad. You're not doing 110 usually. If you play the dog, you're certainly not getting the right odds. In other words, if it's -200, why isn't it +200? Right? So if I make a bet, if I make a regular bet, it's 110. If I make a teaser bet, it should be 110 to win 100. So it's the same. I can go either way with the teaser. It's 110 to win 100. But when I go and do this, when I do a money line and I take the dog, so if the favorite's -200, why isn't the dog +200? The dog's like +120. So you're getting such bad odds to play a money line, especially a dog. But even the favorite, I mean, what are you laying 7? So just lay 1. Oh, so they're gonna a money line's better because why? They're gonna lay worse odds. You can find a second game, and what am I gonna do? Oh, so they're gonna win by 1. All right, so you push your teaser. The odds of them winning by 1 instead of even if you money line them, it's got to be 1,000,000 to 1. I mean, there's no way they're going to win by 1. And even if you do, you push on the 1, and you've got a lot more odds on a money line than you do minus the 1. Why take the higher risk for less reward? That's how I look at it. And, like Nick asked me, the over is 52 or where he's at, do I still like it? And as I tell him, this is I got 31-30. That's 61. So Nick am I worried if it's 44 or 45? No, because I'm saying 31-30 Philadelphia. So I'm saying it's a 60-point game. So I never tease where if the line moves a point, it matters. I don't, I got 7.5. I think they'll lose by 1, not 7. Nobody can get that exact where you buy the half a point or that, unless you're like really making a big bet and it's 9 and it's going to be -3 and you want to get it to -2.5. Okay. I get that, it could easily win by 3. Let's go 2.5. I'm making a big bet. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense. Anything else doesn't make sense to me because you're not getting the right price to do it. It's always got to be the right price. All right. So that's my point with that. So I don't play the money line. Like here, why would you play the money line? Philly -1.5, let's say. why would you play the money line? Just either take Philly -1.5 or tease them +4.5 and play them with the over. Because it kills me is, these guys are playing more than one teaser or more than one bet. It's not like they're only playing the money line. My back's starting to loosen up a little bit. See, even though I'm sitting where it was painful, now it's loosening up. Problem is I don't want to take ibuprofen every day, but I only take 2 pills now. I tend not to take them at night as long as I'm lying down. But I can lie down if I get in the right position and sleep, and I'm fine. Our problem seems to happen when I get up, I go pee, and then I'll bend over to rinse my mouth or mouthwash or brush my teeth. That bend over is when it hurts. So I try to bend my knees a little bit. But now, I'd be fine. I could go drive. I could go walk to the grocery store, buy some groceries, go to the club, ride the bike. But where it gets hard is in the pool sometimes. Sometimes I'm in the pool fine. So I think I'm getting over it, and then I don't. So that's the hard part. Anyway, I don't see any really major injuries. Mahomes, we know, is faking, so we're not looking at Mahomes as being injured. Kelsey's not on the injured list. So you can see how they WWF'd it last week against Cincinnati. Oh, Mahomes with the high ankle sprain. Yeah, bullshit. So we know that's not real, and it's a shame he's doing it. Avocado. I saw something from a good friend of mine's sister on Instagram. You basically belly out the avocado, and you put an egg in it and some cheese, salt and pepper, and you bake it. And then it comes out, and I'm like, that's good, but I just assume eat my avocado like this, and I just assume eat my egg where I'm putting some veggies in it and making omelets and then maybe throwing some hamburgers in it. So I'd rather keep those up. I don't want an egg in my avocado and eat, it's kind of like, I don't want to waste my egg like that. I want to omelet it. But it was kind of neat what she did, and that she made some chicken dishes. Looks really good the way she did. She took in a frying pan, she took a breast, then it was red, yellow peppers and an onion, put all the seasoning on it, and then she made something, and then she got sticks, and she kind of made, skewers, and so it was like red pepper, yellow pepper, green pepper, chicken, onion, and then she baked that or something for 10 minutes, and it looked really colorful, but again, I just assume stir fry it and eat it all together without the stick. But that's me, Mr. Vegas. What can I say? So it is kind of fun what you see on Instagram. So again, I like Philly 31-30. I think it's an over. I don't think KC's defense, they're more based on blitzing, right? That's what Spagnolia can do, is blitz you. You can't blitz Philadelphia because they run the ball down your throat. Look what they did to the Niners, who had a very good had a great defense, but they just tired them down. But basically, Kansas City's not that strong versus the run. That's why they always have trouble with San Diego and Denver giving up points, because they can run the ball. Cincinnati really didn't run it as much as they should have. But that's how you counter a blitzing team. You run right at them, and you tire them out, and they're fast, so they want to get to the quarterback. But if you run at them, you'll kill them. So Cincinnati probably should have ran it a little bit more. But that's what Philly does very well, is running. So Philly's going to score. That's why I like Philly as the dog, because they're going to run it down their throat. But Mahomes is going to throw it down their throat. So that's why I don't see an Army-Navy game here. I see Philly running in for touchdowns, and KC Mahomes throwing it to Kelsey for touchdowns. And I that's why I'm looking 31-30. I think they'll score a lot. And I think it's a dog game. I think you're not going to blow out Mahomes and you're not going to blow out Philly, no matter how bad Hurts is. You're not you have balance and you can run the ball, so you're not going to kill Philly. I don't know. The worst game they played, they lost to New Orleans 20-10 when Minshew was 13-10 through the interception late, and then it was the Dallas game. They lost 40-34. Then they lost to Washington somehow 31-23 or something, which was really surprising. But Washington had a good defense. KC's defense isn't that strong. But the way they looked against Frisco, but it's hard to say because Frisco gave them a gift at the end of the first half, which made it 21-7, which then it changed the whole game around. So 31-30. KC's not a dog very often. Mahomes is not a dog very often. I'll look that up for tomorrow. Okay. This is what I was doing yesterday. We were talking about cashing in your gold and getting the whatchamacallit, the 1099. So they want to charge you They want to charge you first they want to call gold. They don't want to call it money. They want to call it an investment. It's not an investment. I'm not sure baseball cards are an investment. You're really buying an asset. So anytime you buy an asset, that's an investment. I don't know about that. You're buying money. It should never be taxed the way they're trying to tax it. That shows me two things. One, they expect the price to go up. And two, they're not going to confiscate it from you. They're going to let you sell it and then get their 30% on you. So that's what they're trying to do. Now, I don't know. JP Morgan's not going to get 1099, and a lot of those things aren't going to get 1099. But that's okay. That's what they're trying to do. So I'm going to show you a little form I discovered. As soon as my phone figures it out. Come on. My phone's getting slower. I don't know. I mean, it's a couple years old, so I can see needing to get a new one soon. So look at this. CBS Sports. Kick off your Super Bowl 52 bets with up to, what's this saying? Super Bowl. We're still days away from a champion being crowned. Really? They crowned a champion? Unlock the ultimate playbook of picks with over 2,000 ways to wager. Can you fucking believe that? What a joke. CBS Sports. And then they wonder, they want to keep you want to keep gambling out of sports, but all they do is put gambling into sports, which is ridiculous. Come on. All right, so I'm going to show you this calculation. Panthers trade for Lamar Jackson, packages compensation, and is he worth it? I don't see. I hate these articles because you don't know if that's real or not. So let's go into. All right, here's a capital gains tax calculator. So it's smart assets. If anybody wants, I can email it to you. So this calculates what the capital gains tax will be. So your initial value so we bought the coin. Jesus Christ. This is the slowest thing I've ever seen. So our initial value is 2,000. Let's say it goes up to 50,000. It could go up to 100,000, but let's see. So I type in 2,000, what I paid for it. I type in 50,000. So I paid 2,000 for it. It's now worth 50. This would be for an ounce. Now, so you think you're going to pay 30% of 50,000, which should be $15,000, I believe. Yeah, half of 50 would be 25,000. So you think you're going to pay 1/3 of 50, so you think you're going to pay half as 25. So you think you're going to pay 15,000. Now, if your annual income's 75,000, you only pay 12,000. So now we can see it's related to your annual income. So in the professor's world, being retired and not, I don't think I claim Social Security. What a useless tool. So he keeps wanting to save. It's like the other one. So let's say I make 25,000 if I count my retirement, right? And only count that. So I don't work. Now, look what's happened. I only owe $72.90. So making 50,000, even though I'm supposed to pay 28%, look what's happening. I'm paying 7,000 if I make 25,000, which is about 7%, right? 7 times 7% is 49,000. So I'm only paying 7,000, not 15,000. So it's all dependent on what your income is. Now, I don't know that I even declare the 25,000 because you don't tax on Social Security. So what happens if I basically claim, okay, I'm going to claim 0 because, I'm not really making anything. And then it's 1%. Then I only owe 3,500. So every time I cash in at 50,000, I'm going to owe 3,500 because this doesn't go to income. This is like a capital gains, which is not income. So that's how it's going to work. So now let's say we make 100,000. And if we're making a lot more than that, we're not really cashing our gold in, right? You just hold the gold until you are retired, basically, because you don't need, if you're making 200 grand, you don't need to cash the gold in. So even here, I pay 12,000. So even if I make 100,000 a year and I go back to work and I make 100, I'm only paying 12,000, which is still maybe that's 28%, right? Because 30% of yeah, because it's 48,000 is the net because you pay two minus the 50's 48. So you're going to pay 12,000 in tax, but you're making 100. So the moral of the story is if you're not like me, I'm not making any money. But you can see if you are working, you probably, so let's keep it at 100. So now let's say instead of an ounce, you're trading in a half an ounce, which will be 25,000. So let's say we got a half ounce. What a stupid, this must be IRS, this site, because it keeps saving it. What a fucked up thing this is. All right, so we've now actually we got to change the 2,000 to 1,000 because if it's a half ounce, we're not. That's an ounce is 2,000. A half ounce we spent 1,000 on. So we spent 1,000. It gives us a half ounce. Half of 50,000 is 25. Our income's 100 grand. In my case, I'm single. So I only pay 6,000 out of a 25,000. So it's about a quarter. So it's about 25% I'm paying. Again, now, but if I'm making just my Social Security, let's call it 20 grand. See, so if I'm only making the 20 grand, I only pay $2,300 in tax. So I'm not paying 28% capital gains if I'm not making as much. So the moral of the story is just don't say you're making anything. There's two ways around this craziness. One, you go to a place that doesn't give you a 1099, maybe an offshoot dealer, maybe a friend, maybe my guy in Ann Arbor says, you know what, I won't do it. Or you offer him part of it. So you can see, like here, I'd have to pay 2,300. So I go to him, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1,100. Don't give me the 1099. I would say most of these guys are like the sports car guys that Nick just met. Kind of losers, kind of scammers, kind of trying to keep under the radar, don't really want to get involved with the government or the IRS. I guarantee you these guys at these card shows are not they don't even bring 1099 forms. You buy it, it's all under the table. They don't do tax returns. So I guarantee you, if you sell it to one of those guys, they're not going to 1099 you. If they own a store, what'll happen is they're going to go and say, you know what? Here's $1,000. Don't 1099 me, and they'll take it and act like you never came in the store because it's not a trackable thing. Nobody would know. If I go to Nick or Nick comes to me, so let's say Nick comes to me, says, Howard, I got an ounce coin. It's now 50,000. Let's skip the 1099. I'll give you 1,000. Don't 1099 me. And I'd be like, sure. Nobody would ever know Nick sold it to me. I have it. I'm throwing it in my bag. So there's no way Nick knows, or there's no way anybody knows Nick sold it. There's no way anybody knows I got it. And that's really what the key is there is nobody know. It's not a traceable thing because it's not like a stock that if I buy a stock on E-Trade, I put it in, I'm registered. You see, Professor bought 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining gold stock, and he sold 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining, and he bought it for 100, and he sold it for 200, and so there's a capital gains tax he's got to pay because he made money on it, right? And you can offset it by your losing. So that's what you do to it. Hey, Greg and John. I'm just talking. I'm talking about this 1099 thing. So first I'm showing you, and then I'm explaining ways around it. So if you bought a half ounce for 1,000 and you sell it for 25,000, because in our world gold's going to 50,000 an ounce, you hold it for the year, and your income's the 20,000, which is basically my Social Security. You only get taxed 2,300. You don't get the full tax as if you made 100, as if you had a full-time job. So the less money you make, the percentage goes down. I think it goes down into the percentage that you pay for your income. Now, I'm not sure if I'm, Social Security now, what will happen if I show zero on my, I don't even think I have to do a tax return because it's not taxable Social Security. So I think I just put zero Social Security and not pay any, don't pay any tax. So when I would do this, I'd say I made zero because I'm really not making money. I'm getting paid from what I put in for the last 45 years, my Social Security, my 7.65, and the employer matching 7.65. So I don't think it's income to me. It's a settlement. It's a pension, basically, is what I'm getting. So what I'm getting at, you don't pay that much based on how much money you make. So it goes down. Secondly, knowing these guys are probably like baseball card like you go to a baseball card show. Nobody's taxing you. Nobody's 1099ing you. You could buy a $100,000 mantle card. They're not going to give you a 1099. They're not going to report that they sold it. So that's where you're at, is basically going to a show where they'll buy your gold, or going to a store where the guy will buy your gold. You say, look, here's $500, here's $1,000, forget the 1099. And I would say 99.999% of the guys who own most of the stores will be mighty happy to do that. So give me back 49,000, not the 50. You keep the 1,000. I was never in here. You never bought it, so he doesn't have to report it. I don't have to report it. And I would guarantee you that's what 99. It's like running. It's like speeding. Everybody does it. Nobody gets caught. Well, it's supposed to be a law that you can't speed, but everybody does it. It's supposed to be a law you can't run a red light, but everybody does it if it's a quiet, in a quiet little intersection. Nobody's, I turn right on reds all the time. Where it says no right on red. It's midnight. There's nobody there. I'm not waiting for the light. Nobody's giving me a ticket. Did you watch the Joe Biden speech? Are you kidding me, Greg and John? You think I waste time with that idiot? No, I did not watch it. Anything that comes out of his mouth is from China, so I had no interest. You're more than welcome to comment on it. Did you learn anything, or you just think the guy's an idiot? I'm surprised you're watching this stuff, Greg and John. So what did you think? What's your input? Tell the class. So while he's doing that, I basically, there's usually away from these 1099s. The other thought I had about the 1099s and the whole income tax, what happens when this goes to zero? You broke the money system. How do I pay you taxes? What do I pay you with? There is no money. You're not getting my gold or silver. So if I fill out my tax return and I owe you $1,000, 1,000 of what dollars? There is no dollars to give you. So therefore, I can't owe you anything. So this will be very interesting when the dollar collapses. What are they going to do for taxes? That's why they'll come out with new money, because they're certainly not ready to come out with digital dollars. This will blow up. So they'll have to come out with new dollars very soon in order to collect tax revenues. Now, the fact that they want to do these highly illegal 1099s because they're calling it an asset and it's not, it's money, how they can tax you to buy money, and the money doesn't really go up in value at all. This is what's going down. This is the incredible hypocrisy of 1099ing you. The gold didn't go up in value. This went down in value. Why do I owe you 1099 as if I made money? I didn't make any money. I did not make a penny on my gold. You've inflated this to zero, and because this has no value, it takes more of this to buy the gold. The gold didn't go up in value. So why the fuck am I doing a 1099 and paying tax that doesn't exist because I didn't make any money on my gold? You want to inflate the dollars, don't come crying to me that you're going to call my gold an investment. It's not an investment. There's no way gold's an investment. It's an insurance, but it'll go up in value because you guys have been keeping the price down. It's not an investment, but it's not like a stock where I'm buying Microsoft or whatever. He's an idiot. Yeah, we knew that. I just saw the highlights. They have highlights. What did he fall down the stairs? And Kamala Harris just looked like an idiot. I mean, she's the dumb. At first you thought, God, she's stupid. How could he choose her? Then you realize she's so stupid. That's why he chose her, because he'd never get assassinated. We'd all be stuck with her. So interesting move, especially when nobody voted for Biden. All the votes were phony from George Soros. So anyway, the 1099, again, if you try to sell an ounce for 50 grand, it's all dependent on your percentage of your income. So if you make 10 grand or 20 grand, you're going to pay less than 28%. If you make 100 grand, you're going to pay the full 28%. And my point would be then don't sell it. If you're indeed making 100 grand, if the dollar's gone, how are they even going to collect it? And I believe I would bet $1,000,000 to 1 that we could find somebody, my guy probably in Ann Arbor, that I could go in and say, I'll give you $500. Don't give me a 1099. And I guarantee you he would take it, because nobody would even know I was in the store. He's giving me cash. Unless he doesn't give me cash, is he really going to hold 50,000 cash in there, or is he going to want to pay me on PayPal or something? That's a different story if he pays me with PayPal. So that's really the hard part. Are these guys going to have $50,000 cash on him? And then do I want to walk out with $50,000 in cash? Maybe I want a cashier's check. And then I don't know what to title it. Or I get on the plane and I go to Switzerland and I said, here's a 1 ouncer. Give me 50,000 in Swiss francs or whatever. They're not going to 1099 me. It's not America. So I get it. I'd want a cashier's check. And that's where the problem is how do you take that money? You'd almost have to open up a bank in Switzerland. So this is how Professor thinks, right? If I go to Switzerland and cash in my ounce, I would go to a bank there and I'd walk over, or I'd be at the bank. I don't know where I would cash it there. And he gives me 50 and I give him the bank account. And now it's in the bank in Switzerland. Nobody knows about it. And we know how Swiss banks are. And I need money. I pull it out of my Swiss bank. Or I have a bank in Romania. I'll tell you this story. So I went to meet Irina, the beautiful pregnant one, right after my divorce, which was like 10 years ago. And she doesn't meet me. And I meet another girl, and we go to the Black Sea, which is very nice in Romania. Very nice. It's like the boardwalk. Nick would know in New Jersey. So but I can't use my credit cards because it's so corrupt there because it's run by Russia that they need PIN numbers for credit cards. I don't have a PIN number, and I didn't have a debit card at that time. And so I have money, but I can't get to it. So I can't use a PIN on my credit card to pay for everything. Now, I've already paid for the air and the hotel, and I can use a credit card for the car that drove us there. But when I'm there, I don't have any more money. So how do I, buy dinner without using a credit card? So I don't know what my PIN is. So I tried getting a hold of Chase here going, well, what's my PIN number? And Chase goes, well, we can't give it to you. We got to mail it to you. And I'm like, hey, can you mail it to Romania? So anyway, the owner of the hotel overhears me. And she knows I'm with my girl. Well, another girl I met. It's Romania. You meet a lot of girls there. And so she says, why don't you make a reservation and I'll cancel it. And then I'll give you like $2,000. So make like you're going to spend a week here or a month here, put down $2,000 on your credit card and I will refund it. But I'll give you the cash and I'll put it in a bank account for you. So I have a Bank of Transylvania account in a bank in Romania. I had to laugh because it's Transylvania, so I actually have a Bank of Transylvania account in Romania. I don't remember what it is, but I think I left $1 in it or something. So you can do that. So if you want to go cash your gold in and you don't want to get 1099 and you don't even want to stay in America, one of my big things now is I can live anywhere because the Social Security, and I'll check tomorrow because again, but once it starts hitting and I get my $2,400 a month and it pays the rent, well, I can then say, fuck this and move to somewhere else in Europe and not in China, but in Asia or another country. And just the money will come in here. I'm transferred into whatever bank I'm at. That'll pay the rent and everything there. So I can look for a cheaper place to live and one without the crazy Biden team and the Chinese team and go from there. And then just take my gold. And when I go cash it, put it right in the bank and I don't have to worry about 1099 or I keep this, whatever. So it's just options, but you can certainly open up. So if you go to Switzerland to cash your gold in, you can certainly go and have the guy give you the money or if you're at the bank, it works different in Switzerland. You might be able to go to Credit Suisse and here's an ounce of gold, give me 50 grand, open up an account. Now it's in your account. And then you figure out what to do with it. How safe is it? Switzerland's not the US. My Switzerland, love the blue. Love this plate. Oh, I saw this plate. I said, it was like 8 or 9 euros. And I was like, fuck, this is a beautiful plate. I love that color blue. Anyway, so you can just put it in the bank there. Then you're not going to have 50,000 in cash. You don't have to worry about going through the airport with 50,000 in cash. You don't have to worry about anything. It's sitting in a bank account and then you just transfer. I send, my Ukrainian girl money on RIA all the time. I send PayPal to Romania. I mean, so it's very easy to send the money and then just transfer like on PayPal or on any of these. You can just transfer from account A to account B and you don't have to touch it and then, whatever you got. But we got to see how safe everything is. So I have to do my due diligence only as the professor does, like I do on football and poker and everything else I do. But that's really the key to it. So that's a way out of this 1099 bullshit. Again, it's all economics, right? So what happens? So instead of paying higher prices for steaks, I buy a different steak or I buy chicken, or instead of paying $40 for a slab of ribs, I get the chicken rib combination for $22 or something like that. So I'm offsetting whatever I'm doing. So instead of selling it here and getting a 1099, I go sell it in Switzerland or sell it in Austria or sell it in Amsterdam, and I don't have to pay any tax for it. And I get the money wherever I'm at. I open up a bank account, and then I open up a couple bank accounts, and I move it from here to. What do I care what bank it is? So if I have the money, it's either sitting in my safe at home. I'm buying more gold with it, but if I'm selling it at 50 grand, gold's already hit 50. It's not the same. Now I'm spending 2 and it's going up to 50. If I then buy it for 50, I'm not expecting 100. I'm at that point, it's a different world. So if I'm going to sell it, if I need money, let's say, I'll probably start by selling a quarter ounce, which would be a quarter of 50,000. Let's call it 60,000, it'd be $15,000. So that's kind of what I would do, is get 15 grand. Things will still be priced in what it's priced in now here in my mind. Ribs aren't going to go from $40 to 600. I mean, that's just not going to happen. Most people will get fucked because they are clueless. They're in this shit. And what are they going to do? Get new shit. People are scared. They think they're going to go into digital dollars, which is not going to be ready for at least 10 years, if at all. It's the fucking government that can't do anything right. You think they're going to come out with a digital dollar? Seriously? Our government? Are you kidding me? From the makers of, we're printing money to death. So you think the Keynesians could figure out how to actually come out with digital dollars, huh? Or you think Tesla's going to do it, or Bill Gates, or any of these idiots? I don't think so. So those are a couple of way outs. One, when you're ready, you just don't work. And then you cash in 50,000, you pay very little in capital gains. 2, you work, you make your 100, you probably don't need to cash it. 3, you go and make a deal with the guy. Maybe you go to a baseball card show to sell your gold, and he gives you a cashier's check, or some way he PayPals you, I don't know how. Or you go to the coins guy and try to find a kind of like a baseball dealer type who you say, look, I'll give you, you do the tax, you go, look, I'll give you $1,000, don't 1099 me. He makes $1,000, you don't pay all of that, and nobody knows you're in the store. Nobody knows you gave it to him. Nobody knows he got it. Everybody's happy. I don't see, if I was a dealer, I would do that in a heartbeat. You can't prove anything. It's just like proving I sped. Prove I went 60 and a 40. You can't prove it unless you catch me with the scanner at the time. So unless somebody's in the store, you can't prove shit that I was even that I even had a gold coin. You can go prove that. You can't even prove that. More or less, you can't prove that I took it into the store and the guy gave me the money. The only thing is, if it was PayPal, you would see, that's where you run into it. You would see the 50,000 leave his PayPal and go to mine, and then it raises the red flags. So you would almost have to do, got uncreative, you'd almost have to do a bunch of like $1,000 PayPals. And even then, you can't do 50 of them at a time. You almost have to do, here's 2,000, wait a couple of days, there's 2,000 more, wait a couple of days. So it's kind of under the radar, sort of how I get paid, right? So when people teaser king me, I'll get money at any time, right? And you can see it, right? It's, here comes $125 for football. And you can kind of, if you're reading my PayPal account, you can see I'm getting these little transactions, but they're all under the radar because I'm not getting a $20,000 payment. I'm getting 100 and a quarter, a couple hundred and a quarters, a couple guys that will buy the year. I'll get a $600 one, or some people pay me like 300. It's all under the radar. So that's how we would have to do it with gold, because if he gives me a $50,000 check, that's how we would know it. So I got to go one more layer to figure out how you're going to pay me the 50 grand without alarming a $50,000 payment. Because then why did you give him 50 grand? Well, he gave me an ounce of gold. Well, for taking that off the table, he needs to be creative and I need to be creative to maybe do a couple of 5,000s here and a couple of, break it into 10 $5,000 payments. But then it's a worry because he's not going to do it all the same day, right? He's got to, all right, I'll do 3 here, and then next week I'll do 3. Well, wait, I've already given you the gold. So it becomes, maybe you give him a quarter ounce or a half ounce instead of the ounce, or else you're going to pay tax on it. Or maybe the ounces, you go to Switzerland, so the quarter ounce is, let's say it's 12,000. Maybe he gives you 2 $5,000 PayPals, and he keeps the rest, and he doesn't report it. There's no 1099, and then it could be for anything. Yeah, I brought in some coins, and he gave it to me, but it wasn't gold. We could make up whatever. Or I could have brought in a baseball card, but that's probably still 1099. So I got to take the wheels to one more layer, but I'm pretty close, because that's where you get caught. Is he then gives you the 50,000 for the goal? Oh, okay, I'll keep 1,000. I'm going to give you 49, but that's on the radar, and that's the problem with digital currency, right? So he's got to give me cash for a bulk of it, so he can maybe hit me on PayPal for 10 grand or 9,900. Maybe 2 of those, and then that's 20 and gives me 30,000 in cash. And it goes in the safe like I do now. So those are options we do, is finding their radar, which I think is 10,000. So as long as we stay under it. But that's kind of how we can avoid the 1099. I think that's important. I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong when they tax people that win the lottery, or people that win a slot machine or at the racetrack. Gambling winnings. Why is gambling winnings taxed? You're taking the risk. You're probably losing more than you're winning, but when you do win something, they want to tax it. Well, we got to tax your income. It's not income. This is not income. This is real bullshit, because the coin it's money. It's not an investment. An investment is probably a painting, or maybe an investment is buying stocks. There's no way, if I buy euros and it goes up, is that an investment? No. Gold and silver, you're buying money, is not an investment. And it really is ridiculous. But it shows you, to quote Gandalf, we now know the enemy. What they're thinking is they're thinking that gold's going to go up in value. They want to 1099 it because they know the dollar's collapsing. So they're telling you, we're not going to take your gold. We're going to tax you when it goes up. And they're admitting it's going to go up. So that's what the enemy's telling us. So we got to keep that in mind. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting, seeing 1099s, because there's no reason to 1099 buying money. It's money we're buying, and notice, but this is never 1099 because it never goes up in value. It's always being inflated down because they're always printing it. And even when they say the printing supply is dropping, it's still there. They're not saying it's negative, and they're not saying it's zero. They're saying the money supply is going down. So instead of $100 billion printed, they're printing $90 billion. Does that make the inflation stop? No. It's coming down. Does that mean anything? No. Inflation's coming down. Does that mean anything? No, because the way you're measuring it. So when you see a new money and it's not backed by gold, we're still fucked. It's still paper. It's still worthless until it's backed by gold. When you see inflation going down, you have to question the method. If it's year over year, it's not going down at all because they're looking at the price that's already went up. So again, if this is $50, then there's inflation, and now it's 100. So they measured 50 to 100. Oh, that went up 50%. But now it went down to 90. Inflation isn't coming down. The price is dropping because the market's 50. you've got to measure inflation 50 to 90, not 100 to 90. So if they're not doing it properly, inflation's not coming down. So don't get fooled by that. Don't think inflation's coming down. Keep thinking there's inflation, which there always is when you have money not backed by anything. So when the euro and the yen come out with new stuff in 24, which probably won't last that long, it'll probably be out in 23. If it ain't backed by gold, it's still crap. Don't get conjured into believing it's good because it's new. It's only good if it's backed by gold. So my recommendation is you buy money made by the BRICS backed by gold and commodities. Otherwise, you don't buy any money. You buy gold and silver, and you deal with that. You want to go out to my barbecue place? What you do is see how they're accepting money, right? Are they taking silver or they're still taking some sort of paper money? So to answer a lot of people's questions who really are clueless, how am I going to pay for things with silver? You don't. You buy this. So silver buys you 2,000 of these, and that's what you pay for it. So you're going to convert it as if you have a Rolex now. Well, I don't go to the Rolex at the grocery store and use the Rolex to pay for the food. Hello, McFly, anybody home? I'm going to sell it and I'm going to get this, and that's how I'm going to pay for everything. These people are so, I heard that yesterday. I was screaming. You probably heard me. That was the exact question asked. Well, how do I pay for food with silver? And they're like, oh, well, you use dimes or quarters or halves or da 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 da. No, you fucking morons. You sell an ounce of silver to get money, and you use whatever the currency is to buy it. It's you have a car worth 20 grand, right? Yeah, I have my Camry. Let's say it's worth 18 grand. It's a 2018. I paid 22,000 for it, and it's all paid off. It's got 50,000 miles. Let's say it's worth 20. We'll just keep it a nice round number. I don't drive the car to the barbecue restaurant and use it to pay, for the meal. I sell the car to get whatever the medium of exchange is. And then I go ahead and then that's what I pay for it with. But the asset, the car, the gold, the silver is what buys me this to use to pay to make my transactions. You don't price the barbecue in silver. You still price in whatever the medium of exchange is, which is still going to be your debit and credit cards. It's still going to be backed by this. It'll be a new dollar. It ain't going to be digital. So it'll be a new dollar that'll roll out, which will still be the same bullshit that we have. And off you go. So that's really the key to answer the question that nobody seems to fucking know the answer to, except for me and you. How the fuck are these people doing videos that are that stupid? This is what I warn you about. Just like Greg and John's watching Biden, and I'm warning you, don't listen to him. And he's calling him an idiot. I've called him. I don't think Greg and John, I don't think he's real. I think it's an actor playing him. He's too old and too stupid. It's like Vince McMahon is not real. It's an actor playing the McMahon family. Like The Rock is an actor, and Stone Cold and Hogan, they're all actors. That's why I get on the mic, and then the moves are just, they're big actors, so they can do that. Sort of like Steven Seagal, right? He's not really killing people in his movies. Well, maybe. John Van Damme, I think, actually hurts people. He doesn't get not to actually kick them. But basically, they're all actors. Biden's an actor. Whoever's playing him is an actor, right? He doesn't know what he's doing. So, yes, he's an idiot. We know. Well, he's not even in charge. The Chinese are in charge. It's J.P. Morgan in charge. It's this new guy who runs Vanguard's in charge. That guy really concerns me because he's quoting about 2016 Trump saying he's a Keynesian. Oh, Trump was not a Keynesian, but if this guy even knows what Keynesian is, it's very scary because if you know what it is, then you probably won't, except for me. I'm Austrian, but I prove it. But, the fact most people don't know Keynesian and Austrian. And anybody who thinks Keynes was a good guy is out of their minds. Keynes caused the depression here in the 30s. FDR brings him in as his finance guy. And all he did was cause this 12-year depression that should have been over in 1930. All right, the stocks readjusted because you inflated and you did a tariff act. Stocks dropped, let them come up. That's all you needed to do. You didn't need to go to Social Security and all these other bullshit and build a dam and build roads and have government spend money. You can see how well that did. It took 12 years to get out of it in a fucking war. That's how we got out of it. It had nothing to do with Keynes. Keynes was an idiot, right? But he liked communism and he wanted the government to run things. So, of course, the government likes it because that's what they want to do is run things. They don't want us to manage. Look at this tax on gold. What the fuck is that? You want to tax it at 28%? If I'm smart enough to buy gold now, goes up to 50,000 as I think, and then you want to hit me for 28%? You out of your fucking mind? And you're calling it an investment? Where's gold an investment? In what world are we living in that it's an investment? So this is the idiots you're dealing with. They want to keep. God, I'm one plug motherfucker, but I think my voice is coming back as I clean my nasal passages. But I mean, that's Keynes, right? He wants government to control everything. He doesn't want the individual to succeed. And they tax us, and between the inflation and you won the lottery. Well, we want 50%. Or you worked hard, you went to school, and you're making $200,000 a year. We want our cut. Why? What the fuck is that all about? Even the poor people. If you make less than $30,000, you shouldn't pay a nickel in tax. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why are you paying tax? You're doing all you can to survive. I'll tell you one thing. It's set up to be married because if I'm married, so I marry the Ukrainian girl and she's here with me, rent doesn't go up, utilities doesn't go up. The only thing that goes up with me is food. So now I got to feed her. But now she brings in her $20,000, $30,000. Then you're making more, but your rent hasn't gone up and your utilities really haven't gone up. So it's a benefit to get the second income in, not the one income. So it's harder on me with one income, unless you outsmart them all by buying gold and silver. And then they want to fuck you. So you fuck them back by saying, I'll go to Switzerland and I'll open up a bank there and I'll put my money there. So go fuck yourself. You're not getting money 28%. Or I'll go find I'll find a dealer and he won't 1099 me and you won't get your 28%. There's many ways to work around from these morons. So that's what we're looking at. So they're admitting gold's going to go up because all of a sudden here comes 1099s. Why would you 1099 something that's $2,000 an ounce going to $2,100? Oh, I sell it, I make $100, and you can't even. I think the minimum has got to be over $100 to 1099. And then what do? I don't have a receipt. What are they going to do? Just assume what? Assume you bought it for $250 in 1995? I bought this in 1990. You think I have the fucking receipt for this? This is when I graduated my master's, so I know it was 1995. I got gold in there. I don't know when I bought it. I bought a few back then, and then most of it I bought recently in the last year and a half. Once I discovered the inflation from these morons, I immediately got out of stocks. I immediately got out of cash and immediately went into gold and silver. So I mean, I don't keep receipts of what I bought and when, and it's all roughly. I paid about a $2,000, and we'll see what I sell it for. But you know, they're admitting that it's going up, and so therefore they're admitting they're not going to compensate. How are they going to compensate? Somebody's going to knock on my door with a machine gun saying, "We want your gold." God, I hope not. But again, that's why you've got to uh, put it in your Cool Whip in your freezer, saying, "I don't have any gold." What are you talking about? Let them go and look. You're not going to find it unless you go to the freezer and look at my Cool Whip. And who's going to do that? And I'm not going to. I'm just going to say I don't have gold. What are you talking about? Oh, we know your receipts as well. I gave it to my girlfriend in Russia. She needed it. Um, Speaking of her, we might be able to meet on the backhand. I have another friend in Russia. She went to Turkey and she just went. And so I'm going to propose, why don't we meet in Turkey? So let's see what happens. But so apparently they can get out of Russia to Turkey. And then maybe I can get her here from Turkey. So we'll see. The Ukrainian one is going to Poland to meet her son tomorrow. She got the money that I sent on Ria, goes to the bank. She's able to get it. She'll be there a week. And then we'll meet in Europe and probably in March, my birthday. And once I know I'm getting Social Security, like I said, I'll check tomorrow because it's, I will not check on the 8th. I should have checked yesterday, was the 7th, but I really wasn't expecting it till tomorrow, really today or tomorrow, because they said it could be a few more days because it's a setup. But I'm anticipating I won't have a problem with it. And I get nervous with it. And it's really just, I like to have things settled. Okay, now I know I'm getting it. Now I can move on and go take a trip or see where I want to live or do anything because I don't have to live here anymore. That was always for jobs, and I don't need a job apparently anymore. Between gold and Teaser King, I did a show in Lisbon, right, on a weekend. It was mighty early for you guys. It was like 8 in the morning. I did a Saturday and Sunday show in Lisbon. I think I was just getting the result. Like Sunday morning, I was just getting the Saturday night games. We're finally completing at 8 in the morning. Um, that was kind of fun, but yeah, I really want to go for a couple weeks and enjoy. So we'll see what happens. But it opens it up, and they said you don't have to be here. They said you can go overseas and we'll still pay you. And I'm like, perfect. Um, so let's see. So that's what's going on there. So keep your eyes open. Gold and silver. Now that they're pricing silver and gold, that'll really go up. See, everything priced in dollars is one thing, but gold's going to go through the roof because the dollar's collapsing. But if you're pricing silver and gold, silver is going to go through the roof. It should be 8-to-1 silver to gold, which means 8 ounces of silver should buy you an ounce of gold. It's 88. So what they're saying is it's 88 ounces of silver to buy you an ounce of gold. But that's not right. It's 8. That shows you how badly silver is priced. And that's why I tell you go for the $27 an ounce. Let's see what it is today. How skewed the 10 o'clock trend is. Here's a gold thing. Gold, Canadian mining Company reports $3 billion gold deposit near Republic. Let me quickly read this. Near Republic, an estimated $3 billion in gold near Republic has reportedly been found by a Canadian mining company. It's a find that could bring a northeastern Washington town back. So this sounds like Washington in the U.S., Washington State. Well, who knows? We don't care. See, that's not going to be gold inflation. It just brings in more gold, but that shouldn't hurt the price. All right, let's see. Gold price today. Gold's up a few dollars. Well, it says here gold's up $1.31 to 1874. Oh, look what happened at 10 o'clock. It went down. I'm shocked. How the fuck does it go down every day right at 10 o'clock? Then it did a little. Now, here's where you get caught a little bit. You can see the little dip. Then you see, oh, no. That was at 9:30. So at 9:30, it dipped. At 10 o'clock, it's the down. As soon as it starts going up, you buy and look where you're at. So if you bought at 10 o'clock at 1870, it's now at 1878. So if you just watch the 10 o'clock down and as soon as it starts going up, it's out of fucking matic. This is a bigger lock than the football fixes, right? 10 o'clock, it's down. You don't do it. You wait. It starts going up. You buy. So maybe you buy at 1871, and then you see it going up and up and up, and you sell it at that point. You get a little trick at like noon where it dropped. It's up, it's down a little, and then it kind of goes back up. So you try to wait till 3 or 4 o'clock. Usually, you do fine. Anyway. Silver's 2230. Look at this joke. The most undervalued assets at 2230, up 11 cents. So this is when you run to the store. But look, it's down at 10 o'clock too. How the hell can that be? So gold, or is that still my gold? Oh, that's still my gold. My apologies. Let's see silver. Nope, same thing. 10 o'clock down and then jumps back up. So at 10 o'clock, it's 22.27, and it really doesn't go much, 22.40. So you're better off in gold, but it's 22.40. It doesn't move as much as gold does, obviously. But it's so undervalued. It's a joke. It's money. It's also industrial. It's needed in batteries. Really just a fucking joke. How they're keeping this price down, which makes it even more valuable to buy because it's so cheap. So this is why you run out and buy. So it's $22.70. It's going to cost you $25. But here's the point: the $22.70 price is fantasy land. It's a Disney price. It's not a real price. It's fantasy land. The real price should be 8-1 for the gold, which is not a real price at 1900. At worst case, it should be 1900 divided by 8, which is what 200 would be 6. So it'd be 250. At worst, silver should be 250 at 8-1. What's it doing at 22? Why does the government allow it? Because this is how corrupt the government is. So this is why, do you really want to live here? This place is so corrupt, run by this JP Morgan, run by Vanguard, and run by BlackRock. And the Chinese running the president. So is this a place you want to live? The problem is, go to China. It's more corrupt. Go to Russia. You got Putin corrupting it. And all the rest of the Russians. Ukraine's corrupt. Romania's corrupt. The problem is everything's corrupt. This is the problem with government, and this is the problem with the Keynesians. If you had gold, you couldn't have the corruption because nobody can take my gold away from me, right? I've got whatever gold. Say I got 50 ounces of gold. Well, you can't inflate it. You can't run things the way you want to because you can't just print it. So you wouldn't have the corruption that you had. If you just had fair laws, you couldn't have JP Morgan doing all these fixes, making billions of dollars, and then they get a little you owe us a penalty of $2 billion for Madoff. They probably made 20. They knew all about it. They probably orchestrated it with the four big guys and the lady in Europe. And they paid off the SEC, which is what JP Morgan's doing with gold right now, right? They're paying off the LBMA. They pay off whoever's in America. And all they do is slap their hand with a little fine. What the fuck is that? That's like paying off the referees in football. And there's a holding, it's clear holding, and 1 in 10 they call a penalty on. Or basically like last week's games. You touched Mahomes, you took a dive, we're going to call that, and you win the game. And that's basically what the government is. It's sort of like, okay, we'll penalize you, but nobody goes to jail. And then JP Morgan has the balls to say, well, yeah, we should have watched it carefully, but nobody at the bank really knew what was going on. Oh, so you got a bunch of morons working for you. Really? That's your story. You want to admit you had a bunch of morons working at JP Morgan and at the SEC. And when they see Madoff doing all these things that a third grader would know, you could ask a third grader, you think you could go 100% on all your tests? And he'd say, no, I'm going to make some errors. But Madoff can go 100% on his picks. Give me a fucking break. And then, so basically, I'll compare it to craps or gambling. Let's call it craps, but then we can go to gambling. So here's Madoff at the crap table. He keeps paying you. You know it's illegal, or you sense it's illegal because you're not stupid. Nobody can go 100%, yet I get paid. So I'm not going to say anything, and I'm going to keep getting paid. And as long as he keeps paying me, I don't give a fuck, which is all illegal, and all of them should have went to jail. And nobody should get paid back for losing. And then as soon as he runs out of money, or as soon as the dice 7 out, could you imagine you're playing craps and the guy's hitting his points and you're making money. You make $20,000 because he's hitting 6s and 8s and 9s and 10s and 20 passes in a row. And then he 7s out and you got 20 grand on the table. Oh, what? No, wait, I want my money back. It was a scam. I didn't mean to leave it out there. No, you were stupid. You didn't take your money down. You lost 20 grand. The dice came out 7. Madoff was using fixed dice that didn't have a 7 on it, but we caught him. So then he threw the normal dice and the 7 came out and you lost. You lost. You stayed too long. You didn't take your money. You didn't take your winnings. You didn't follow the professor, which says take part of your money, put it in your pocket, quit a winner. No, you didn't do that. You kept going, and then you lose, and then you want to cry that you don't have any fucking money. What is that shit? So these people are crying. Basically, I lost my life savings. Well, you're an idiot because he's paying you. And if he's paying you, you should be taking back some of your money. What are you doing with that? Why aren't you taking that? Putting it into a regular savings account or buying gold with it. What are you doing? Leaving the money on the table, right? So you think the dice are never going to 7 out. So you keep betting and betting and betting. They're never going to 7 out. Really? Okay. That's insane. So now I'm going to cry because I lost? No, you should cry because you're a fucking idiot that should have you should have pulled back out of the investment. So as he's giving you money, you should be taking it out. And if he says you take it out You take it all out. Okay, give it to me. I put in 50 grand. It's my retirement. Now it's up to 200 grand. Thank you. Goodbye. No, I'll just keep making money. It'll never stop. Who is the idiot that thinks like that deserves to get what they got? Look at me at poker. I'm a damn good poker player. I can read everybody at the table. I play 1-2 no limit. If I get up $500, I'm putting 400 in my pocket. Worst I'm going to do is win 400. I'll keep going. Maybe I can win 1,000. But I am not giving back the 500. I'm not going to give back 4 the 100. I might give back 100. I'm not giving back 5. Because I know somebody's going to hit a straight on me. Somebody's going to hit a flush on me. Somebody's going to bluff me. Somebody's going to hit a set on me. There's more bad than good that can happen. So I am not going to stick around and act like an idiot, like I'm just going to keep winning and I'm never going to get burnt out on it. So these Madoff people were a bunch of fucking idiots. The other guy from Boston's too stupid to realize the SEC and JP Morgan were in on it. So he's sitting there all upset instead of thinking, I get it. The SEC's partners and JP Morgan's partners. And they even kind of admit that one Kallhauer was in it, like knew about it. Like Madoff's like saying, yeah, the 4 big guys and the girl from Austria, probably knew something was up, right? The one guy knew because he'd always give him money because he knew it was a Ponzi scheme. He'd give them money, and then he could pay out the people wanting money, and then as soon as he got more money in, he would then pay the guy back. That guy didn't know. He didn't say, well, wait a minute, you're paying me. How do you got people that want money? How are you not able to cover that? Because if you're actually making money, you would have made money and been able to cover it. So obviously the guy knew. The guy got murdered. They call it a heart attack, just like Clemenza. Yeah, it's a heart attack, and everybody said it's not a heart attack. So I think that's what you have there. But I think you have that. You have it in stocks. You have it with the money. You have it with this Vanguard fixing Vegas. You have it with JP Morgan. You have it with BlackRock. You have it with Soros. You keep screwing everybody over. And what I'm saying is you've got to understand it's a crooked game. I heard from you guys a lot. Is the football game fixed? Is it scripted? Well, we know it is, but it doesn't mean we can't beat it. And we beat it because the way out is the teaser. Because they're looking at Philadelphia -1.5. That's what they're looking at. We're looking at Kansas City and 7.5, but they're not. So Philly either wins by 3 and covers, but if all the money's going on Philly, what are the odds on Philly winning, laying 1.5, if all the money's going on them? And what do we know? It's fixed. So do you think the guys taking the bets want to lose? No, which means Kansas City will win because they won't let Philly cover the 1.5. So Philly has no chance of winning if the money keeps going on Philadelphia. The people betting Philadelphia are freaking idiots because they don't understand everything's fixed. Teaser King understands it and says, aha, Philly won't win because the money's going on Philly. So we're betting against the money. We'll take the 7.5. KC wins the game. Now, people in Vegas, that's what they do. They go against the line. So they'll know the same thing. They'll go, it's fixed. And if the line goes from 3 to 5, they take the 5 because they know there's no way they're going to let the 3 people that bet the 3 to 5 win. Because that means the bookies lose, so we're not going to do it. And that's where the teasers comes in. The only time is when I talk to the guys, Michigan, Kansas State. In Kansas State, they had Lockett, and Michigan's quarterback was injured. And the line moved from like 3 to 7. And people are betting Kansas State, and I'm warning them, you can't. This is not a fix. This is because the quarterback's out. There's a whole different – and then Kansas State killed them. And you try to explain to them, not this – don't bet against the public this time. You can bet against it in a Michigan State game, Ohio State. Not in this game because Michigan's backup quarterback sucks, and you can't take Michigan this game. I watch Michigan football. I had a lock on Kansas State. I mean, it was like there's no fucking way. So most of the time you can because it's so fixed. Basically, who does J.P. Morgan have? Right? Who is Soros betting on? I mean, it's almost like we know everything's fixed, but you got to get in and out. So when I buy gold stocks, when I was buying them, it'd be in and out in the same day. Well, Howard, why aren't you long? You cannot be a long-term investor. You'll never win because eventually they'll take their profits. That's what it's about. They buy at 20. The stock goes to 23. Then they tell you to buy it at 23. It goes to 26. And everybody who bought it 20 sells it. The people that bought it 26 gets fucked because it goes back to 20. It's a game. But we're not first in, so we can't do it. So you can't hold stock a long time. You'll get fucked. So you got to get in and get out. So the only way to win in stocks is to do what I did. I bought 1,000 shares of Newmont Mining at $50 a share or $60 a share. And I would buy it at 10.05 after the spike down. And I'd wait till it started coming up. And then by 3 o'clock, because I don't want to get caught tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So by 3 o'clock, 3:30, I'm out. And even if it went up 70 cents times 1,000 is $700. That's how you win. You take your profit and say, thank you, and I'll do it tomorrow. And I'll do it the next day, and I'll do it, okay, let's do it for a month. 30 times 700. That's a lot of money if you look at it like that. So when people say, well, you're not a millionaire, I go, you're right. I'm not a million. I don't have $1 million to gamble, but I made 20 grand. So in my mind, that's $1 million because that's what I can afford. So that's really what it is. But now what have I done? I've seen the new game, and that's gold. And I go, okay. So I basically sold out most of that money used to buy gold because I see gold's not going. It's not doing that. The stocks have been hammered because people are selling out of the stocks. I said, give me that money. And it's an IRA. So I pulled it out. I owe tax on it. And then I've been buying my gold and my silver. And that's what's happening. And my paychecks and whatever else, Teaserking money, you buy your gold and you buy your silver with that. And so you kind of, you see this new game, and then you've got to figure out, well, it's been price fixed for 50 years. Should I buy it? And it's the only out of money. And how long can the price fix go? And then what would cause it to break. And you realize it's the whole BRICS countries and Russia, China going to gold, and Saudi Arabia getting out of the euro dollar, getting out of the petrodollar. So the dollar's collapsing. All these guys have gold and silver. That's the trigger. J.P. Morgan made their money. Now they're buying gold. And then when the gold price goes up, they're going to make a fortune on that. So you've got to understand the game. And the game is now everybody, all the central banks, Russia, China, J.P. Morgan, all these countries are into gold. So let's use logic. They're all betting on gold. The price is going to go up because you can see that's where the fix is. It's been kept down so everybody can jump aboard, and now they're going to let the foot off and watch it run. They're prepared by 1099s, all this bullshit. You can see they don't think many people have it. That's why they won't confiscate it in the U.S. because they don't think anybody has it. Why would they compensate it? The few people that do will 1099 them. J.P. Morgan will just trade it in Singapore or something. The central banks aren't even in the country. They're in all these other countries, China and Russia. What do they care? So they realize nobody has gold here except for us, right? So they're really not going to compensate it because they know nobody's got it. So that's helpful for us. We can kind of stay under the radar. We can sell it and try to figure out the best way that we don't get 1099 and taxed on it, because we shouldn't, because it's bullshit, because it's not an investment. It's buying money, which is the true value of gold and silver is money. It's not an investment. That's not why we're buying it. I'm not paying tax on it. It's totally fucked that they want to do the tax on it, but I made my speech on that. So that's where we're at. So when I run around telling people in the hot tub, telling you guys to buy gold and silver, that's why. I went from gold stock to actual gold. It's gonna go. It's the volcano is about to explode. And I'm saying, get aboard, hurry up. And you don't have much time because when it explodes, it's not going to come back down. It's not Coca-Cola going to $2.99 a bottle, and then they put it on sale. Buy one at $2.99, the second bottle free, or it's on sale for $1.99. Gold is not going on sale. It goes to 30, 40, 50,000 an ounce. It buys a house. It buys a Ferrari. It ain't going down. It doesn't go down. There's nothing that can make it go down. Then you come out with dollars backed by gold, Russia, China, and then maybe you buy that because that's low. But that's what you're looking. You're always looking for what's low and up. So in a football game, oh, the money's on Philly. We're on Kansas City. Money's on Kansas City. We go to Philly. That's why I'm telling you, if KC goes favorite, what's today? Wednesday. Let's say Saturday we wake up and now KC's a 1.5 point favorite. Now we're hammering Philadelphia in 7.5. Then it'll be, okay, guys, keep the game close. That's why we tease both ways, because we think it'll be a close game. But that's what you have to look at. So you're always looking at the next thing. Oil's not cheap. You don't want to go into oil. Oil's not, what am I going to put a barrel of oil in my refrigerator? It may be Pennzoil motor oil, but I mean, so gold is the smart way. It's the smart move because it's cheap, right? It's not the real price. That's what you have to recognize, and that's how I want you guys to understand and think. Why is gold cheap? Because it's not priced right. There's no physical price. It's at paper price. What happens there? They sell 1,000 ounces or 1,000,000 ounces, but they don't have any gold. They're just selling paper. Oh, so you mean the physical is not being bought and sold? No. And the physical demand is really high because the price is so low. So what's going to happen with high demand comes high price. So it's not a follow. But because it's not priced properly, that's why the $2,000 or $1,900 is pure fantasy. That's why silver at 22 today. So I go to the silver guy, I'll probably get it for 25, 26. It's not the real price. We know the real price, 2,000, 3,000 an ounce. We don't know when it's going there, but we know it is going there. So we buy it, we hold it. What am I going to do with my money? Sit in the bank and then worry that it's going to zero if I can even get it out of the bank? I had 100 grand in the bank. My biggest worry was I won't be able to get it out if it even stays. All right, give me 15 grand. I kept going every couple of weeks, getting 15 grand buying gold because I knew A, the value is dropping because they're inflating it. B, is the bank going to be open? And the bank doesn't have my money anyway because they don't keep your money. So therefore, I better get it out now before it isn't. And I'm not worried about being safe. I'm fine with it in my house in a safe. Nobody's coming here, to break into my safe. I mean, because people will go to Bill Gates' house or Zuckerberg's or Bobby's or Tom Brady's. If you're going to risk going to jail by stealing, you ain't wasting time in my house. You're going to go for a lot of money, like the professor. If we look at Money Heist, he robbed 90 tons of gold, right? He didn't steal crypto. And he wasn't interested in 20 ounces from the police guy. He goes for 90 tons of gold, right? That's my point. You're not breaking into my house You don't even know what I got if I have anything. I'm just in a little place. You're going into, a rich area where the guy's got $10 million in gold and silver and money. That's where if you're going to risk it, that's where you're going, because you can go into all the places where I'm at and nobody might have any money. So you got to be very careful. You're not going to risk it. So that's what you're doing, is you're looking for the next thing. After gold, we're going to let gold go up. We're going to make a fortune. And then where do we put our money? I don't know. Maybe do we really put it in a bank? Maybe not. Maybe we put it in a storage area. We got to find a safe place. Maybe I go to Romania, dig a hole, and pop it in there in my friend's farm where it'll be safe. I don't know. I mean, that's the other question. But don't think the bank's a safe place, because they don't have your money and it's not secured. It's not insured. If they don't have it, if you go in and say, give me my 100 grand, and they say, we don't have it, we could get it. Well, what if they can't get it? Then you've lost your money. Or what if they say, your balance shows zero? What if there's something that all the banks show zero? Then what do you do? So I don't know how safe it is in a bank. I'd rather have it in my house than in a bank right now. I'll take my chances. If somebody robs me, they rob me anyway. What's the difference? They can follow me to the bank, and then when I make my withdrawal, they can rob me. So that's a bunch of bull. So you got to just be careful, but you got to be smart, and that's really what we're trying to do. So we bet the football. The money then goes into gold and silver. Sometimes we buy mantle cards with it. Any asset that we think will go up. Now, the problem is, from what I'm hearing, is now if you go to eBay to sell my mantle card, I get $100,000 for it. I get $10.99 on it. Now, is there another way to sell it where I won't go to the coin store and say, here you go, here's the mantle card. Let's do that under the table, because I don't want to get $10.99. It's going to hurt eBay, because eBay, they're going to sit there and issue everybody 1099s. Good luck with that. Yes, E-Trade does it now with the stocks up and down. So let's see. So I think something happens after the Super Bowl, like after the Olympics. We know the whole world's inflated. We know they're all Keynesian. They think they print money and it grows on trees and it's no problem. Well, we all know that's bullshit. We all know you can't just keep printing. It's eventually the value will go to zero. I'm getting the sun. So if the value goes to zero, that didn't help. There we go. So if the value goes to zero, what was I talking about? Well, the value of the money goes to zero, the gold will go up. I lost my train of thought. But keep in mind, there's a lot of crooks in the world, as I've mentioned, Soros and this Klaus guy in Germany, and this new guy who runs Vanguard, and the guy who runs BlackRock, and all the government officials are run by JP Morgan. So you have a lot of corruption where people can basically kill us all when they want to, which I'm assuming is happening as we go, but there's so many of us, we can kind of escape. This is why you lay low. This is why you don't draw attention to yourself. Anybody that draws attention to themselves gets killed or goes to jail. You do this in Russia, you're in prison in Siberia for 10 years. That's why a lot of the Russians leave. There's no freedom there. There's no freedom of the press. You talk bad about Putin, you're in big trouble. Like here, we called Biden an idiot. If we were in Russia and we called Putin an idiot, we'd have the FSB knocking at our door and we'd be going to prison right now. So this is what we got to be careful with. Then we got to look. So we're in gold and silver. It's way undervalued. It's not priced properly. We understand that. We understand Russia, China are coming out with the pricing mechanism. We understand JP Morgan and COMEX is destroyed. And it's going to want to go to real value, which is happening, but it's slow. We believe it'll start after the Super Bowl or sometime in the near few months. We understand this is going to zero because you can't just keep printing it. The Keynesians believe just keep printing and build roads, and that's the way you'll have a good economy, which is just bullshit. You need businesses. And what's happening with inflation, the businesses have to go out because it makes for look what happens, right? The guy can't sell his ribs at $40 because of the market. So what does he do? He ends up going out of business. Well, wait, we need the businesses for the economy. There's waitresses who work there. There's chefs that work there. So people find a job, pay taxes. People eat because we need to eat somewhere. So inflation destroys the economy. That's why when I get asked, are we in a recession? We've been in a recession for a year. That's what inflation is, right? Inflation raises the cost. Costs cause the inflation because the more things cost, the less the economy works because then it's too expensive. You buy less. The less you buy, that's the recession. So a recession is basically you've slowed the economy. Anytime you raise costs, you slow the economy because then they raise prices. That slows the economy. So that's why the economy went so good because it was 0% interest rates. So when you see 0% interest rates, you buy as much gold and silver as you can, even though it's fixed. Because as soon as it comes off, all of a sudden you don't have that, right? You don't have 0%. Now you're fucked. Now you've got the inflation. Was this not plugged in? Sorry about that. Should have been at 100%. It's at 60. Anyway, so that's what you realize, right? It's like a football line or poker. I can use either example. So Philadelphia is 10 over Kansas City. Is anybody betting Philadelphia? No, we're all betting Kansas City. That's inflation. The line's too high. So you're not getting equal betting. Well, if the cost is too high or the inflation lowers the value of the dollar, making it cost more for the guy who sells, who he buys the meat from, and then he passes it on to the customers, and it's $40 for the slab of ribs, nobody buys it. So nobody's going to lay the 10 points with Philadelphia. They're going to take KC or they're not going to bet the game. So when you raise the cost on things, they raise the price as the answer, but the public won't allow it because we're a market. We're a free market, and we say we'll pay $25 for ribs, so they can't charge $40. Therefore, the restaurant goes out of business. They don't have a choice because if it's costing them $30 for ribs and they got to sell it for $25, they lose $5 every slab. So they either don't make it on the menu anymore, but then does anybody come? It's a barbecue place. So you got to take ribs off the menu. But they don't want to. They make money on the ribs. So they're looking for that fine. Well, we'll raise the price on chicken. We'll get rid of wet naps. But that's what happens as cost and price go up. The market cannot bear it. You either go out of business. So look at, another example would be Toyota. The Camry's $30,000. They're going out of business. They can't afford it because nobody's going to buy it. But they've already built the cars. So if I already built all the cars, I've got all my cost in it. Plus, I have a plan and all my employees and all my utilities and all my rent I got to keep paying, but I'm not selling anything, so I'm not getting revenue in. And if I don't get revenue in and I got all these costs, I go out of business. So it's going to happen to Ford. It's going to happen to GM. I don't know about Toyota because it's Japanese. But you watch, Ford and GM went to electric cars. They'll be out of business very soon. The only good thing is everybody in Detroit will be happy that Ford won't own the Lions anymore. This I promise you. It's funny, every time with the Lions, what should we do? Get rid of Ford. Because he's the dumbest owner I've ever seen. I guess I just ate a piece of skin on a piece of skin off the shell. All right, I'll be fine. So that's business, but that's what a recession is. The costs go up. The market says no. There is no more market for you at those prices, at those costs. The cost goes up, you raise your price. That's the worst thing you can do. You always have to know your market, right? You always have to know, what am I going to sell my Canadian club for? What can I sell it for? And if you can't sell it for your extra cost, you have to go out of business, because I can't sell it at $100 a bottle. Nobody's going to buy it. That's a recession. They start laying off people because they still have the plant. They got big vats full of whiskey. They got the bottles. They got the labels. They got the employees. They got the rent. So they either mark the price up, which they can't sell, or they cut costs, which is why they let employees go, and they lower the price to at least make something, but they're fucked basically. So we go in, and your whole model is, I want to make 20%. It cost me $20 to make the Canadian club. I can sell it for 30. But but all of a sudden inflation hits and the costs go to $40, and you can't raise your selling price, you have to go out of business because it costs you 40 and you can only sell it for 30. And that's what that's what I see. Most people just are clueless on here. Most people go to college, get Keynesian economics, which they don't understand anyway. They don't understand the free market. They don't understand Say's law. They don't understand what the market is. And they go into business like where I was working at, and the idiots keep buying. And I basically, on my last day, I laughed at the CFO. I said, you'll be out of business in March. And he will be, because as the car companies slow down, they're not going to buy his crap. And once that happens, you've got your cost, you're fucked. So I'll wait. I know they'll go out of business, or they'll lay out a lot of people. But here he's buying out this guy. So where I was working with a small company, excuse me. So I was working at this big company that bought out small companies. The problem is you got an owner who's so stupid, he has no idea how to run the company. So you're trying to figure out how to run the company. How are you going to make this company worth anything? If my buddies were the ones, so I do Teaserking. So if somebody else took over, nobody would watch, because you're watching me because of my skill set and my background. You trust me, and I show you results, and I make you money, and then I make you more money, and I tell you my goal is makes you more money. So it works. So if this guy is running this company and his buddies are the ones calling him for the jobs, and he's got this phony pricing mechanism down, and they buy it from him, and then he retires and he goes to Florida, now own it, you're not going to make any money because you don't even know how it works. You don't understand anything to do with it. It's absolutely ridiculous. that you would buy anything. If anybody bought from me, they'd be out of their minds, because the only way anybody buys from me is because I pick the games at a very high rate and make you a lot of money and show you how to bet them. So nobody could buy this out and anybody would stay. I mean, why would you watch somebody else? You could watch somebody else now who's not as good and not as smart and can't make you money. So to buy a company from somebody else who has no idea what he's doing, how is that going to be successful? So I don't even understand the concept. I looked at the CFO and said, "You're a fucking idiot." I called it to his face. I said, "This is your big plan to buy out his stuff, and you think you're going to make money with it?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard." I actually said that because I was pissed. And I said, "That's the stupidest thing ever." Because again, I'm an INFG. You fuck with me and I'll kill you. And that's what I did basically, was he fucked with me. And I said, "That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of. I would never do that." I didn't say go buy gold, which I was tempted to, but I don't want to help the guy. So I'm like, "That's the stupidest idea I've ever heard." I says, "You'll be out of business soon. I mean, what are you thinking? What kind of business model are you looking at? We'll buy shitty companies. Supposedly the guy makes money, but I don't know. I saw him steal a lot of money, so I don't know. Does he really make anything? Can you run it? No, you don't know how to run it because you don't know what he's doing, because it's Madoff. He's got clerks and salespeople, a guy who sold real estate as your purchasing guy, a bookkeeper who's a secretary running payables, receivables, and payroll. You've got me there, you've never had an account. You don't even have a software except for Excel. You're basically hiding everything. It was total Madoff. His kids were on the payroll, and he's stealing money from the company. So good luck trying to buy this and do anything. The guy would not share his information because he didn't know. He didn't know what he was doing. He had no. He'd do quotes. He wouldn't include labor or overhead. I warned him about inflation, and he cried to my boss, "Tell Howard I know what inflation is." And I'm like, "Oh, really? He took an economics class?" Somehow I doubt that, because if he did, he wouldn't run his business this poorly. Why doesn't he have a computer system? And then my boss was supposed to get one, didn't. What the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you getting a computer? So what's really going on? You're not telling me. Okay, fine, fuck you. And off I went. But this is the problem. He'll be out of business. So he's wasting all his time and money when all he had to do was just put the money in the gold, and he could just sit back and he'd be rich, far richer, with none of the work, none of the headache, not hiring people. Why even buy the company? What do you do? What do you waste your time buying the company for? Just take it and off you go. Just buy the gold and go retire. Go on an island. I mean, you don't need. You're trying to make money. You don't have to buy a business, see how it's run, and say I'm going to run it better when you're not going to run it better because it's not run properly. So it's like saying I'm gonna price gold better than J.P. Morgan does, but J.P. Morgan's not doing it right. They're doing it illegally. So what are you going to do? Now make COMEX off of physical? And how are you going to do that? You can't do that. You don't have a mechanism that prices it in physical. Russia, China are doing that. So that's really what's happening. So you're trying to do something that you're trying to take over JP Morgan COMEX. You can't. It's not real. It's fixed. It's fake. And that's what a lot of these, I don't understand. A company that buys another company thinks they're going to make any money. It's got to be the stupidest thing. I've never, ever seen a company, Microsoft buy maybe another company, but when they would do it, it was to get rid of the competition. They weren't really buying it to take it over. Once in a while, they'd buy a synergy company, like they bought Excel, right? So Microsoft bought Lotus 123, turned into Excel. And all they did was, they didn't change anything. They just changed a few icons. But Excel, they didn't build it. They just took it and used it. And basically it was price fixing, and it never should have been allowed. But that's what Microsoft did. That's how Microsoft does, is steal things, and then they just call it their own things. That's not business. They didn't create anything. They just stole. That's what Buffett does. He buys 1 million shares of Coca-Cola. Oh, wow, you're a great investor? Yeah, a fucking chip could buy 1 million shares of Coke or Pepsi and make money on it because you're really buying the company. You're buying Coke's Coke. It's not real hard to figure that out and then just buy a bunch and watch the price go up. Really, wow, you're a great investor. The real investor does what I do, which is buy the gold stocks, make your 70 cents on your 1,000 shares and go. That's a real investor. I found it. I didn't buy all the gold mining company. I buy 1,000 shares. I didn't buy, 1 million shares of it and just sit there, but I don't have that money because I didn't steal it in the insurance game. Insurance is the biggest scam there is. You get car insurance, you don't want to use it because if you use it, it goes up. Homeowners, how often do you really need homeowners insurance? What happens to your house? Nothing. I mean, very, very little. If somebody steals from you, there's no insurance for that. Well, I think, no, there is like theft. I think there's theft insurance. But how often does that happen where somebody comes in and steals your painting? So anyway, that's kind of business. But I'll be looking forward to my former company going, or not my company, but the company I worked at going out of business. And the professor will get the last laugh. Again, doubting my skill set, right? You doubt my skill set, you get fucked. That's all I can say, because you shouldn't be down. He should have listened to me instead of letting me go and doubting me. He should have listened, but he's not. He wasn't comfortable because he never talked to me. I guess he felt there was no purpose in talking to me. He'd talk to the owner or the general manager. I only have the master's in finance and economics, so why would we talk to that? My skill set was far higher than both of those guys. Probably higher than the CFO would be my bet. Oh. Gold, talk to the economy. A lot of shit will happen. Let's see if anything's going on here. So I like going into Google and just seeing the stories. Update at Notre Dame, setting the scene for one of college football's premier offensive coordinators. Who cares? Iraqi cabinet adapts new exchange rate for the U.S. dollar. Now, it's interesting that they're not having the market do it. And they didn't do it in the Ukraine either, or Russia. They just come out with a new rate set by the government, not the market. That's one of the problems with these countries. They're not letting the market do it. So the exchange rate for Iraqi to the U.S. dollar to be 1,300 dinas against $1. Why don't you just say you're broke and get it over with? Because if you're at 1,300, you're broke. For example, the euro is 95 cents, the Swiss franc's 95 cents, even the, some of these currencies are like like the Romanian lays $4 to the, you're at 133. Goodbye. Unbelievable. U.S. accepts visa applications from third country to reduce waiting periods. Well, that's good. That way they can pay taxes. Restaurants serve shoebox lunches as crucial reminders of Black history. Whoa, why did the blacks eat out of shoeboxes? Then they eat hamburgers and fries like everybody else. So I don't like Black History Month because it should just come natural, like Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Bobby Bowe, Barry Bonds. Why does there have to be a month and they talk about blacks? Then what's March? So if the black did anything in March, it doesn't count. Where's White History Month, or is that the rest of it's White History Month, or Oriental History Month, or Arabic History Month? I mean, it's so stupid, and that's racist. To call it Black History Month is very racist. Raiders news: Derek Carr to visit New Orleans. Why is that Raiders news? Gold Canadian, and we talked about that. So let's go to my videos. So this guy's an idiot. Be prepared for coming silver avalanche. So he keeps saying expected reversal, massive price change in silver and gold, yada, 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 but they don't say when and they don't say why. And we all know, but why are you doing this video? Because you're not telling us anything new. What the fuck are you doing? President Joe Biden in Wisconsin, I feel sorry for, who's my Green Bay guy, Ryan, I think. Lie. Biden delivers remarks on his, what's he going to say? Fast checking President Biden analysis. Fuck that shit. Here's Giant Omis versus the Beast Brock Lesnar. I hope he beats him. Now, this guy with the one move, for instance, it doesn't work. Hate to break it to him. Simple ways to ease psychotic pain. I'll have to look at that, but I don't think there is a simple way. This I'll be interested in. This is the new series Berlin, off the money. So they killed him off, which was really stupid, and now they're doing a mini series on Berlin, who was the professor's brother, and I really don't understand why they killed him. I don't understand why they killed Tokyo. I don't understand when they kill the big characters. You should know them. It's like killing off Batman. You just don't do it. It's just stupid. Let's see. Let's see anything. Australia will roll out fifth COVID vaccine shot. So all the people in Australia are dying very soon. So, here you have this very misleading title. It's over gold and silver. 97% will lose money with gold and silver if they don't realize this. What he should be saying is don't buy gold and silver ETFs. So if your money's in ETFs, you're going to lose it, which I told you, you don't want paper gold and silver. You want physical. But he doesn't say it in his title. So I just badmouth him because he's an idiot. Then everybody tries to get buy this now, 2023. Massive fall in gold and silver price incoming because it's derivative. And again, this was what would frustrate me. I'd read this, I'd look at it, and he's talking COMEX, not physical. We don't give a fuck. We already know. You're telling us tomorrow is going to be Thursday. We know it's going to be Thursday. You don't need to do a video that tomorrow is going to be Thursday. Who the fuck are you? Never heard of the guy, and it's ridiculous. Now this guy's a little bit. Well, this is my guy. Don't miss this chance. Stack now. He's telling you right away. Silver and gold will be massive. So he's straightforward. Not it's going to crash, and then they say, oh well, that's really the paper money. And this idiot who I thought was smart, who isn't, gold price shock incoming. The coming gold price shock warning, everyone. Well, what the fuck kind of heading's that? It's going to go up. Why can't you just say it's going to go up? This is what I can't listen to these idiots. This is about to happen to gold and silver. Yeah, you've been saying that for 6 months. Nobody listens. And then it's just guy after guy. Massive gold and silver avalanche is coming. This will happen. Okay, yeah. Oh, and then my favorite idiot, Peter Schiff, who's a fucking moron. Shocking growth, gold. Yeah, we get it. Gold will explode after this. After what? After the dollar collapses? Just we already know that. There isn't enough silver. Last chance. Gold price outlook 2023. Major say it's all the same. Major collapse expected. Massive silver alert. Here's what you should know about silver's near future. There's no collapse in silver. It's the collapse. See, but they don't title it right. You waste your time watching it. And then it says sell now, gold and silver. But it's not the physical. So these people have a real problem understanding physical gold and paper gold. And they'll talk about physical. And it's just, I don't know. They get you to watch, but it's really stupid. Otherwise, I don't see much. It's the same bullshit. Oh, you want paper? You want physical gold price? Well, we can't give you that. Yeah, so I don't see anything here that's anything. And I'm certainly not going to listen to President Idiot because whatever he says, you can't believe. So, what are you going to trust what he's saying? What else? Where's Bobby today? Who can I torment if Bobby's not here? Anyway, so that's what we have. So be prepared, gold and silver. I need to work on my back, hopefully without hurting it. See, now they lied to me. They said sitting in the chair actually hurts my back, and my back feels fine sitting in the chair. I take the ibuprofen, and it makes it feel better. And now I'm fine sitting here, so that's bullshit. I tried some exercise that hurt my back. But if my back feels okay, I don't need the exercises. When my back hurts, the disc is popped. I can't get it back in until I sit down. Now, when I sit down, the disc goes back in. So now I can get in the car and drive. I can go buy gold, go to the bank, go to the grocery store, walk around. I'm fine. If I go to the pool and get on the bike, I'm fine. Sometimes when I walk, it's hard, and or in the pool. walking couldn't be hard. I start feeling it hurting in the pool a little bit. My guess is it's too much. The water resistance is too hard to push against, which is causing the problem. So on the bike, I'm okay. But in the pool, you're moving all that water around and it hurts. So it's not probably the best thing to do. I got to figure that out. But I don't know if I'm working it causes more pain than if I don't, then I need to rest it. I don't want to lose my shape. I want to work out. It's very healthy for you. It's actually very healthy for your brain to work out. That's what they say, right? It's really if you go out walking or you walk your dogs or you go ride the bike, it's really good for your brain is really why you're doing it, not anything else. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, that's about it. So gold and silver. Let's see what happens after the Super Bowl. It's a big event. Things happen, and they wait until after. I mean, nobody cares about the NBA, the college tournament or pro playoffs, the Masters. They're not holding back. So the Super Bowl is a big, big deal. So we'll see what happens there. Outside of that, just be careful. Buy as much gold and silver now before the price goes up. You have no risk. Okay, let's say it doesn't do it. And JP Morgan keeps controlling it. You can go back and sell it to the place. You won't get 1099 because you didn't make any money on it. So if you buy it for 25 and you take it, buy silver at 25 an ounce and you wait and it never goes up and you go back and sell it at 25 an ounce. There's no 1099. You might get one, but you just say, well, I bought it for what I sold it for. And so you don't have to worry about that and you'll get your money back. But the odds on the money going to zero are, especially now that we're not on the petrodollar, that Saudi Arabia is trading with gold or yuan. Since that's what's happening, then this is going down anyway. So you need to get out of this. This is what my bitch is with money. You're telling me that gold's an investment, and I'm saying, is money an investment? Is the U.S. dollar an investment? No, it's a medium of exchange. Well, so is gold and silver. Gold and silver is not an investment. It's money. I'm changing one currency for one money. How is that an investment? Please define investment for me, because I am not buying gold to go up. I'm buying gold to get out of the money that's going down. And how does the money going down really make gold an investment? Gold didn't go up. So that's my bitch about it. So I'll fight it, but hopefully I'll just not sell it. I'll go to Switzerland or somewhere else to sell it. But that's what I think that'll come later when we figure out where to sell it to. I might take a trip to Ann Arbor to talk to my guy and say, okay, if it does, are you going to give me a 1099 or are we kind of going to go under the table, or what can we do just to get a feel? But if there's going to be other places that'll pop up that will trade your gold for you, probably government run, that they can 1099 you would be my guess. So we'll see what happens with that. But it'll be a mess. Anyway, anything else? What's going on? Nick's come and gone, and I know a lot of you guys work. This is easier for me since I'm not working, because I get up, kind of lunch with the professor, and that's why I stay on long enough to get other views and other people. Then the only other thing is I could do swimming now, but I kind of like swimming later at night. It gets me out, except for on the weekends. I got to go at 2-3 o'clock, usually because of the football games, and usually they close earlier. Outside of that, I think it's fine. So we will see. Be careful with your goal. Like I said, the 1099. So we'll figure out where to go. But right now, you're not going to pay a lot. Now, if you're making $100,000, and you lose your job and you're going to need the gold, you might wait till next year or just keep some in savings. Buy your gold, but keep money in savings to get you till next year. Then you'll make zero, and then you won't have to pay much in 1099. But we'll see. But most importantly, you'll get the money. So we'll see. It's a matter of time. We don't know the date because it's all set by JP Morgan, everybody. And so they're not telling us. So keep an eye on JP Morgan. Keep an eye on what's going on in gold in China and Russia. I'm not really seeing news. Well, let's take a look at Russia. Let's look at Russia Gold Exchange. See if we got any news on that. Russian Gold Exchange. Russia to open global gold exchange. Western sanctions. This is September 9th, 2022. Federal Reserve blames pandemic for inflation, not itself for Congress. How can the pandemic cause inflation? How can the pandemic print money? This is how stupid they are and how stupid they think everybody is. Inflation is you've printed the money and lost its value. How can a pandemic do that? So what they're saying is prices are up because supply chain, well, that's not inflation, that's prices going up. Again, we don't care about that. What? Oh, it's a radio release. Okay. Impacts buy gold and silver. No, I want Russia. I specifically searched Russia. Russia gold taken out of exchange traded fund supplies. Russia now has fourth largest gold reserves. Let's read that. Russia is now ranked in the global top 4 countries in terms of gold and foreign exchange reserves, with a total of US 582 billion. That's bullshit. I mean, if you're going to print something, at least print the real stuff. Russia Gold Exchange could challenge LBNA, really? And reveal gold's fair price, really? Russia's proposed. See, but this is September. Yeah. I'm actually looking for, like I would look on, a New York Stock Exchange for what's the price of it. Buy gold coins from Russia online. I didn't think that was possible. I don't think you can. So here's a ruble, a gold ruble. Not very exciting. What do they got? Is this the Olympics gold coin and a picture of what the Tsar or Nicholas the Tsar, 1897. So these are not new Russian gold. 1897 Russian 15 rubles. Probably doesn't say gold on it. Let's see. So you got the Tsar, and it just says 15 rubles, 1897. But are we missing the fact it doesn't say gold on it? So it's not saying 999 pure gold. The actual coin is 0.37. So it's like between a quarter and a half, it's 0.37 ounces. And they want to sell this for $1,200? Are they out of their fucking minds? A quarter ounce is $500. A half ounce is $1,100. Why would I pay $1,200 for a 0.37 of an ounce? For 1897, Nicholas II, a gold ruble. I was actually expecting real gold coins, but I don't see one. Oh, look who shows up to class. Yeah, I was just showing you. You just missed it. Maybe they have Russian silver coins. There you go. Here's a Russian 1897, the Tsar coin. They don't have anything new. This is a 5 cent or a five, I don't know what it is, some ruble. So you can buy silver for your collection, Bobby. No, let's see what the silver looks like. They're not even Russian. I'm looking at Mercury dimes. What is this? I was looking for Russian gold. Where's the Russian silver? It's an 1897 Tsar Nicholas coin. It's 0.37 of an ounce. I wouldn't buy it. I don't know. It doesn't say gold on it. Who knows from Russia if it's gold or not? I was looking at Russia to see if they had the gold exchange up, which they don't yet. And then it said Russian coins. So I said, oh, where's the Putin coin or the ballerinas or whatever? But I didn't. That's all they got. It's 1897. They don't normally sell their gold like how we sell the Eagles and the Maple Leafs. I don't believe there is. Once in a while, I'll see it at my coin store because people bringing their coins to sell. So you'll see some Chinese and you'll see some Russians and these other countries you'll see because people all came in and used to live there. So the people who came from Russia who had gold are taking their gold and getting dollars and selling it. And that's so all of a sudden you see it at the coin store. So anyway, we'll see what happens after the Super Bowl. I had a lot to talk about on these 1099s. And I've come up with two conclusions. One, they're not going to compensate our gold. They're actually going to let us sell it and then try to take 28%. That's the first thing. Now, the way around it, I've come up with two conclusions. One, you give the guy $100 or $500 and you sell your ounce of gold for $50,000 and you say, here, I'll give you $1,000 and I'll still make the money, but I won't have to pay the tax on it. He benefits by getting the $1,000. You benefit by not having the 1099, and everybody's happy, and you get all your money. Who will send us the 1099s after we sell? The guy you sold it to. So if you sell it on eBay, eBay will give you a 1099, just like you do with your stocks now. So if you're with, what am I with? What E-Trade? I'm with E-Trade. So when I buy a stock, it's in the system, and then when I sell it, it creates a 1099 because I bought Coca-Cola at $40. I sold it at $42. I made $2 times 100 shares. I made $200. Maybe they 1099 me, maybe they don't. It comes from E-Trade, which is JP Morgan, unfortunately. It wasn't JP Morgan when I got there. So it's whoever is the seller is the one who should 1099 you. However, I feel if I were to go into your coin store, offer you $1,000, I was never there. You never bought the coin, da 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 da. But then I ran into a problem. How are you going to give me the 50,000 or the 49,000, right? So the only answer would be you got to give me like 30 grand in cash and then two 9,900 PayPals. And then we could, they're looking for 50. They're not seeing it. They're seeing 99.9 on two different things. You're just sending me a birthday gift. So it's not, I didn't sell you a coin. You never bought a coin from me. So you don't get hassled. I don't get hassled. I think that's the only way around it. Or we fly to Switzerland and we sell them the coin and we open up a bank account there. And then that way, otherwise you can't carry 50 grand on the plane and you don't want to carry a wire or anything because that's going to lead to questions, right? You take a cashier's check into the bank for 50 grand, there's going to be questions asked. And if you get a wire, there's going to be questions asked. So you can't avoid that unless they can wire it from Switzerland, but then you got to put it in your bank and then you won't get the money. So my thought was to open a bank account in Amsterdam or Switzerland or Rome or wherever the hell you go, sell it. And then you just transfer the money a little at a time into whatever bank you want, wherever you're living. And that's how you sell it without the 1099. Because I don't think they'll 1099 you in Europe for, I think they can only 1099 you in the U.S. They can't. If we're in Canada, why would Canada? They probably don't even know what a 1099 is. So that's how I think the government's thinking is they're not going to confiscate because they don't believe anybody's got gold anyway but me, you, and our class. So therefore, they're not going to – who are they going to confiscate? 10 people? So they won't confiscate it. They'll just wait till you sell it, and then they'll try to hit you on the tax. What's pissing me off is it's not an investment. We are buying money. Gold and silver are money legally, not an investment. So why are you treating it with the short-term capital gains of a 1099 as if it's they're calling it an investment? I'm buying it as a commodity. I'm not buying it as coins. I'm not buying it as I'm buying a 1902 penny that's worth $50,000. So why would I get 1099 if it doesn't go up in value? This is the point that they don't get. The gold is not going up in value. This is going down in value. So if this goes to zero, everything goes up in value. So is everything an investment? My Coca-Cola, is that an investment? My Canadian Club, is this an investment because it now went up? Gold and silver are not an investment. It's money. So if the money goes up because you print this to zero, that's not I didn't invest. It was strictly getting my money out of this into money. So how in the world is it a fucking investment? And why would I pay a 1090? Why would I pay tax on it? What a bunch of fucking assholes. That's all I can say. Anyway, be careful with Vanguard. They're the new Nazi. This guy, Vanguard's a Keynesian, setting all the prices in Vegas. Then you've got JP Morgan, the biggest Nazis. And then you've got the other Fink guy from BlackRock. So this is the problem I stated is you got all this price fixing going on. You got all these evil people running it, and they have the politicians in their pockets, so the politicians aren't standing up to them. That's why Madoff got away with it. That's why Morgan, he did Madoff. He's doing gold, and all he gets is a slap in the pay a penalty of $1 billion. And they don't seem to have a problem paying it if they do pay it. I can say, Bobby, you owe me, it's a penalty. You were late. You owe me $1,000. That doesn't mean you actually paid it to me. It's just I'm saying I'm penalizing Bobby, but if he doesn't pay me, but it looks like you've been penalized, right? So maybe JP Morgan gets this $1 billion penalty. They pay it and then get reimbursed on the other end. Who the fuck really knows? Well, there's not a lot. I mean, football we talked about. A lot of gold and economic news. I've been talking about that. Nice coin. Are those okay? Who will send us the 1099? So it's if you go to the coin store and you say, "Can you buy my coin?" and he says yes, he's supposed to 1099 you at the time or get your address and do it. I would forget my social security number if I were you, if you do that type of stuff. I'm saying we go to Switzerland or somewhere in Europe where they don't do 1099s, and then you just sell up and then open a bank account there and put the money there, and then there's really no trace. Because I don't think you can get on the airplane with 50 grand. That brings me to my next question when you said E-Trade. Why do some platforms, brokerages say you have no documents when I search for my tax documents this year? Well, because unless unless you have 1099s, so if you lose money on stocks or you haven't sold any, you wouldn't have any doc. There's nothing there. So be happy about that, unless it's your job where you have a W-2. If you're not working for them, the only thing you could have is 1099s where you made money. If you didn't make money, there is no 1099 for losing money, only for making money. So be happy you don't have any documents. That's a good thing. How would they know that we have 50,000 on us? Well, at the airport, they ask you when you go through customs. I've had that happen when I fly back from Europe. I'll be getting my passports stamped, and they'll go, "Do you have any money on you? How much money do you have on you?" And I'll say $500-600. And the guy goes, "Go ahead." If I said 50,000, I'd be stopped, and I'd have to pay tax on it. Yeah, I sold some, but they were small gains and loss. Yeah, it's got to be a certain limit. But if they're not going to give a 1099, say thank you very much, and off you go. Because that means the government doesn't have anything, so you don't volunteer nothing. So be happy you don't have any documents. I would have documents when I sold my IRA to buy the gold, but I'll somehow lose those and switch the numbers, and somehow it won't come out of my tax return properly. And then I'll make a payment plan, and then, so my biggest thing is, so you do a 1099, and what currency are we going to use? If this goes to zero, how the hell are we going to do tax returns? Right? I owe you $20,000. Wait a minute. There is no dollars. What do I owe you? So this is very interesting what's going to happen if to do a tax return and we're not using dollars. What are we using? We're going to do digital tax returns? I mean, so here's what I had calculated. So this is called Smart Asset. So in Smart Asset, so this is a half-ounce gold coin. I paid $1,000 for. It's worth $25,000 now in my world. Gold's jumped to $50,000 an ounce. So it's just an example, but that's where it should be. So I paid $1,000. It's worth $25,000. I come down here. And my income. Well, I don't even know what my income is anymore, because if I'm retired and I'm getting Social Security, which I'll check tomorrow, is my income 20,000? Is my income 25,000? Is my income zero? This I don't know what my income is, because is Social Security income? I don't know. That's really the question. If it's not, then I make zero and I don't pay any tax. So where they're scaring you into 1099, so you can see my tax is $2,300, but if I made 24,000 at 28%, so 30% of 24,000 is 8,000. Well, I don't owe 8,000. I only owe this. So the less income you make, the less you owe on your 1099. So it's not just 28%. It's 28% if you make 100. If you make your normal 100,000, you would pay 28%. So let me show you that. So you can see if I change this to 50,000, all of a sudden now I owe 5,100 on my gain, not the 2,600. So you can see if I make 50,000 versus 20,000, the percentage down here changes to 5,000, not 2,000. So it behooves you to not, when you start cashing this in, not to have income, because then then the 1099 is not the same thing. So here, if I make 50,000, then I would say, here, I'll give you $500 for the half ounce. That's worth 25,000. So that's what we're waiting for. Yeah, so with gold and silver, the first question I have is, can we get an attorney that says this is not an investment, it's money? Why am I paying any tax on it at all? And so this is my problem. Just because the IRS says something, if it's wrong, it's wrong. It's not an investment. And we've been told, I know Nick says that a lot, this is not an investment, gold. This is gold's not an investment. It's strictly it's buying money. I'm really buying like a euro when I buy gold. Where is it an investment? It's ridiculous that it's not an investment. So why are they calling? Why are they taxing us? If I switch dollars to gold, why am I being taxed on it? So obviously they assume it's going to go up in value because they're already worried about 1099s. And they're obviously not coming after us, or they wouldn't even do this. They would just say, okay, bring us your gold. So I'm not worried about them taking my gold because I don't think they think anybody has it anyway. We're the exceptions, not the rule. So therefore, they're not going to waste all their time trying to collect from us. And if we do sell it, but since I'm the professor, we get on a plane and figure out, do we go to Switzerland? Do we go to Portugal or Spain? Do we go to Amsterdam? Where do we go? Maybe it's Mexico, although I'd be a little curious going down there. Where do we go to cash it in and not be 1099? That would be the first thing. Or do we simply go to my guy in Ann Arbor and say, here's $500, don't 1099 me? Nobody will know, and he can do that. Now, I think the only way they can find out is if he gave me $50,000. Then that's the tracking. Now, if he gives it to me in cash, we're fine. Then what do I do with the cash, right? I got to put it in my safe. I can't go to the bank with 50,000. That's a red flag. So you got to kind of think like the real professor, and you basically would think like a chess guy. So it'd be like, well, give me 30,000 in cash and two $10,000 PayPals. They're not seeing 50,000. How are you going to track that I sold it? How are you going to track he bought it? And so maybe you can do it that way, because there is a tracking mechanism. If my guy gives me $50,000, what are you giving him 50,000 for? So that's where they catch you. You have to have some sort of out of what you're doing with the 50,000. Now, the guy where I go here close to me, he's not smart enough to do that, right? So he would be afraid I'm going to jail, So he wouldn't do that. He'd be afraid to do it. But my guy in Ann Arbor, he's more like us. He's, like when COVID was there, I'd go into a store and I didn't need to wear a mask. Everywhere else, you need a mask. He's we don't wear a mask. I think he would work with me if I gave him, especially if everybody wants the ounce and he can sell it for 52,000. I'll be happy to take 49.5 for it, 500 for you. Just give me 20, 30 in cash. He will have cash because as he has the gold, as it goes up in price, people are going to go shopping for it, are going to give him 50,000. Now he might get it through PayPal. He might get it. He probably gets a lot of cashier's checks once the shit hits the fan and people are spending 50 grand on gold. He's there. How are you going to pay him? You're not walking in the store with $50,000. Well, I would, but I mean, I walked in there with I think 15,000 at first. I think I bought 7 or 8 ounces at first. I think I walked in with 25,000 and bought 7 ounces. And I think it was like 13, 14,000. That was my first major purchase a year and a half ago. I wanted to buy it. I had some small gold, but like, okay, I'm getting my money out of the bank and I'm buying gold with it. That's exactly what I did. Coin store loves the professor. Well, the coin store, if it was mine and yours coin store, Bobby, it would be one way. We would buy it, we wouldn't sell it. And if we were selling silver, it would be at 2,000 an ounce. We wouldn't be selling it at this 27. So silver's down a little bit today at 22. So I think we can go buy more at 25, 26. So I'll probably go buy, well, once I'm sure my Social Security, which I'm not checking today because I'm superstitious and today's the 8th. And I'm not checking on the 8th. I do not like 8 days, so I'm going to check on the 9th tomorrow. Usually 7 and 11 are my days, but I will check tomorrow. I have a phone number if I don't get it. Did they fuck up the account and routing number, or is everything good? I would expect it to be in my bank today. I actually had premonitions that it was there. And I told you guys, okay, I got my Social Security. Then it'll be interesting what I do because I can go move wherever I want, and I'll probably take Jenna on a nice 2-week vacation. And then my other friend in Russia just got back from Turkey. So apparently Daria can go to Turkey and get out of Russia, and I can meet her there. So I have to talk to her about that. She's kind of, I'm trying to figure out what's going on because she's like, I want you to come here to meet you. She doesn't want to come. She wants the first meet. She wants me to meet her and stay with her at her house. And it's kind of like, how about Copenhagen? And she doesn't see anything. So now I'll ask her about Turkey. But it's very confusing. Like, why don't you just get the hell out of there? Or why don't we meet somewhere just to meet? Like I meet Jenna in Lisbon or Amsterdam or, these other countries. She happily meets me there. So I'm a little bit like, what's going on? She might be in trouble or she can't leave. I don't know. Maybe she thinks I'm trying to do something bad to her. And this way, if she meets me here, then she'll realize I'm a good guy, which she should know from all my texts to her where I show nothing of that. And she can see this. Well, I don't know as far as the inventory. Last week, they had a bunch of silver, and he had some gold. He had more gold bars, little gold bars from Swiss, like the Swiss Bank, Credit Suisse. He had 5 or 6 1-ounce little gold bars. He didn't have any ounces. He had some halves and quarters. So I haven't been because I pretty much bought out, and I'm pretty much waiting for Social Security to like get finalized. I think it's fine. I think when you go, it's finalized. I said to the lady, am I going to have any problems? She said, no, you'll be fine. So I don't think there's any issue because I think you're already in the system, unlike unemployment or other government where you're waiting to get approved. I don't think with Social Security, it's an issue. I think you're in the system, and then it's just a matter of then start sending you checks, and they'll never stop. I mean, even if I'm dead, they'll probably keep sending it. That's the funny part. So as far as I know, once I get it, once I know it's in there, the second Wednesday of every month, I'll get the check, which basically pays rent. And then I'll use the other money to buy gold and to go on trips. So we will see. But I think once that's set, then I'll go to the gold. I'll probably figure to go tomorrow and check his inventory out, and I'll let you know. But he's a big story, buys from the mint, so he always has inventory. I've never seen him really without silver or without some gold, but most of his gold comes from people coming in the store to sell it. So somebody sells a few ounces of a Cougaran, that's what he's got there. He's not getting it from South Africa. He's getting it from Joe and Fred, who came in and sold him the Cougaran. Let's see. She wants the professor to go over there and lay the smackdown on her ass. Well, yeah, she definitely wants that. But, I'm like, why don't we meet in Copenhagen? Then at least we can meet. Like, let's meet. But she's always kind of been strange about meeting. It's always been, come here. I want you to see my country. I want you to see St. Petersburg. And I'm always like, wasn't it more important we meet than me seeing your country? I mean, or your city? I mean, it's a beautiful city, but at this point, you got a middle of a fucking war. Maybe you want to get the fuck out of there. So I don't know. But she was sick yesterday. She didn't work today. She was home. She says it's really cold here. Yeah, it's a Russian winter, of course. So she bought a new coat. So she showed me, which means I bought it for her. So it was a nice long winter coat. Anyway, so we'll see. If she keeps poo-pooing that, she wants me to go to Russia, then I really got a second. I got to second think this because this war is going on for a while, and I help her out, but at least Jenna, I meet every couple months, right? We met in Odessa, we met in Portugal. We're going to meet probably March or April, so it's a different story. We at least meet. We haven't met yet. I could have met her like a year ago, Christmas before the war, but I met Jenna instead. And then I didn't know the war was coming. I figured, I'll meet her, April, May, and then the war comes and I can't. And of course, it's Russia, so I can't fly there because U.S. planes can't go there. So basically, that's the problem I have with her. Do you want to meet me or not? It seems like she does. She sends me pictures of her kid and all that stuff. So it's kind of like she wouldn't do that if I believe she's real. I don't believe she's fucking with me. And I help her out because it's a fucking war and heavy inflation. So I don't mind it. But we will see. But I would like to meet her already. And she wants to meet, and she wants to come here, but I don't know. So we'll see. I'll ask her about Turkey. Again, let me get my money tomorrow, and then I can easily travel, because the key is I can pay for everything. I can pay for all my bills, and then I can take my savings out to travel or just hit my credit cards, which hopefully will go to zero, and then it won't matter. But yeah, I'll put her in a couple of figure fours, or one of those scorpion death locks, something like that. I prefer a tag team, but we'll see. And anyway, so I'd like to meet her. But anyway, so this other girl who I know from Russia, I was on her Instagram and I see she went somewhere and she's flying. So did you fly in Russia, or were you able to get out? She says, no, I went to Turkey. I'm like, oh, okay. Now, Turkey had raised their rates very expensive because the people were trying to get out of the draft, the Russian guys. So they're all getting on the plane to go to Turkey. Turkey raised their flight from like $200 to like $3,000. So nobody could afford to fly to Turkey. But this girl doesn't have that much money that she's going to spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a plane ticket. And then I saw she rented a car. So maybe she met her boyfriend there or something. But at least she could fly there. Now we got to check the price. But this girl's not a rich girl who went to Turkey. So I would think we can meet there unless the prices are very expensive. Thank you, Bobby. I am the man. We all know that. But thank you. Yeah, the Russian girls, they're fucking crazy, those girls. It'll be a good time for sure. Anyway, so Jenna's going to Poland tomorrow. She was able to get the money. The bank's only open a short time. Can you imagine that, Bobby? You want to go to your bank and they only have electricity for 3 or 4 hours. So you're running to the bank to get money to go to the grocery store, or in this case, to buy train tickets. So she's going to take a 21-hour train to Poland and then a bus. And then she'll meet her son, her young son, who's out of the war. She stays for the older one who can't leave, but the younger one is in Poland. And so she's going to go visit him because she's all freaked out after that ballistic missile landed in her backyard, scared the fuck out of her. So I got to go meet my son. So I help her out with that. You think the recession is really going to be avoided? Bobby, we've been in a recession for a year now. And what's up with that balloon situation? They're trying to send a spy balloon or something. Well, that's the first one. Of course, we're in a recession. So you got to understand what a recession is. It's a slowdown of the economy. What causes a slowdown? Higher prices, right? So if you're buying milk for $2 a gallon, and let's look at Coca-Cola, right? The 2-liter goes from $1.59 to $2.99. Do you think they sell the same amount of Coke? No. Or we could go to my barbecue. Let's go to my barbecue place. I like that better. So if they're selling the slab of ribs for $25.99, and then it goes up to $35.99, do you think the sales have stayed, or do you think the sales have slowed? Well, they've slowed because people don't have $35.99 for a slab of ribs. It's over the market. That's what I keep showing you. The market's $25 for the slab. He's okay here. He's okay at 26, but if he goes to 35, he's $10 over market. Nobody's going to buy. In theory, his sales have slowed because his price is too high. So in theory, that's a recession. His sales have dropped because people can't afford it. That's what a recession is prices go up, the economy slows down because they can't afford it, so they buy less. So you buy less Coke or ketchup or steaks or whatever, pig's ears, whatever you're buying less of. That's what a recession is. It really doesn't mean anything. It's just the economy slowed down. Who gives a fuck? It doesn't really affect us unless it gets to a depression point where they're laying off people. But really what affects us is they fuck up our money. That's what really affects us. So the fact that the economy slows down, well, when you raise interest rates, you're making things cost more. That's already a recession. But when you add inflation to it, which makes the money worth less, which makes everything then go up, cost more, then you're really causing a recession. And when it's really heavy, it's a depression. And that's what you're causing by inflating and the higher interest rates. You're basically fucking everybody over. So yes, we've been in a recession for at least a year, and who knows when it'll go away with these idiots inflating. So if they come out with new money, if it's not backed by gold, you haven't done anything. The best way out of it is to reverse your interest rates, which will make things cost less, which will then get you out of the recession. But it's basically just slowing down. It's basically the ribs are $40, nobody's buying them. That's a recession at the restaurant, right? So he's trying to avoid that. And I've warned him, keep it under 30 or you'll be out of business. Because his recession, he goes out of business. That's what's happening to Burger King or Walmart or some of these stores that they can't afford the price increase and they can't pass it on. So they got to go out of business because they're doing negative margins. So it's very simple, but of course they don't explain it to you. I'll answer your last question in a minute. The balloon. I don't know. How do we know the balloon is a Chinese spy balloon? How do we know it's Chinese? How do we know it's a spy balloon? Again, this is what the media does. Oh, we shot down the spy balloon. Did we really? And how do we know it's a spy balloon? And you're telling me China needs a balloon over to spy on us? They got Hunter Biden to spy on us. They got Joe Biden to spy on us. They got Pelosi. They got all these fucking idiots in government. They got JP Morgan. They're all spies for China. Zuckerberg, Gates. They don't need to send a balloon over to see anything. What the fuck is that? I don't think it was the only thing that I would think they would spy on us is Alabama, where all the defense contractors are. They want to see where they are, what they're doing. Otherwise than that, what the fuck are they? The balloon's 60,000 feet in the air. What are you spying on? It's all ants. You can't see anything. Why we shot it down over the Atlantic Ocean instead of when it hit Alaska, we go, oh, there's a spy balloon. Let's shoot it down. Why would you let it cross the whole country? And then here's the idiot Biden's answer. Well, we wanted to shoot it down over water. Yeah, because it's not like there's the Great Lakes, and it's not like there's the Colorado River, and there's no water, you know, in other parts of the Pacific Ocean. There's no water anywhere else in the U.S. than the Atlantic Ocean. This is how stupid the government is, and this is where the problem is. People actually believe that horse shit. How do you believe that? Well, we need to shoot it over water. The question is it even a Chinese satellite spy balloon at 60,000 feet in the air, which can't see shit? So to even think it's a spy balloon, how the fuck where do you get that from? So where's that even coming from that it is? Who can verify it? Nobody. I mean, why would they send a balloon? They don't need to send a balloon. Just go talk to Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. You get all the information you want because they run Biden anyway. Those bastards better not be watching me come in and out of the coin store. Well, it depends. If you use the credit card as you're doing, you're telling them, hey, I just bought silver. It's there, but you're not probably buying a big enough amount. So they're probably looking at $20,000 purchases from the coin store, not your little 20, you're spending $400. They don't give a fuck. But if you sell a 1 ounce gold for 50,000, you'll get on their radar. They don't need to see you going in and out. They just check the 50,000s. That's why nobody wants digital currency, because right now I can give the guy cash. He can give me cash. Nobody knows anything happened. You start getting on digital dollars, they know everything you did. Oh, you went to that girl's house and you got dinner here and you bought gold. You traveled to all these places. Now you're on the radar. And if they don't like you, then you're going to jail or you're going to Russia. So this is the problem why we don't want digital dollar. We don't want you knowing my business. That's not what this is about. It's about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and my freedom and independence. You're taking my freedom if you're saying, well, Howard, I know you want to go to Turkey to meet your Russian girlfriend. We're not going to let you. That's a problem that I don't want. That's why I want to meet her. And then we'll figure out now we don't have to live here. We can live in Switzerland. We can live in Romania. We can live in Italy. We can live wherever we want because my Social Security is going to come into my bank here, and I can transfer it to my bank there. I don't need to pay rent and utilities because I can move out, right, and find a nice, cheap little apartment in Venice or Spain with the professor, and live there and live much cheaper and still get the $2,400 in a month, Social Security, and all my gold and silver. So that's the real kicker. Now I can live anywhere because I really don't need to work, except for Teaserking and except for Social Security. That's where I'll make my money. But I got it all in gold and silver. So I am smarter than the average bear. So Bobby, you want to walk in there with money, no receipt, nobody knows shit. And when you sell, so you're going to sell your silver. So because you're buying a lot of silver, I don't know if you own any gold. You never say you do. So let's assume you just own 1 ounce silvers. You're going to walk in. Now, silver will be worth $2,000. You won't have the same problem with the 1099. It won't be, it'll be $100. So you don't even care if you get 1099 on it. I do. I'm selling an ounce for 50,000. That Philharmonic I showed you, that's heavy duty. That's 50 grand. Now I'm going to pay 8,000-9,000 in tax, or probably 5,000-6,000 in tax. Fuck yeah, I'm not going to. That's ridiculous. But if I sell silver at 2,000 an ounce, it's probably $300. Okay, fine. What do I care? So that's what'll happen. But if you sell 10 silvers, at 2,000. Now you're selling 20,000. That could be it. But this is where you have your daughter go in, or your brother, somebody you can trust, which I don't know if you can trust them, who then takes it in. He gets the 1099. He doesn't. So really what you want to bring in is like somebody who doesn't earn any money. Let them take the 1099. It won't even show up on their tax return if they even file one, because it's by social security number. So if I was you, I'd get some old lady who doesn't work, or some young kid, and have them go in and get it. And, what are they going to do? I'm not carrying my social security card with me. So I might confuse the numbers on it, and then they'll never associate it to my tax. So there's a lot of different ways we can look at it, but that's what you'll do if you do it. But what I would, if you bought enough, let's say I'm turning in 2 ounces, it's $100,000. I'm offering the guy $2,000 and say, here's $2,000. You never saw me. But I don't think I'd ever do that. I think I would do 1 ounce at a time. If I even do the ounce, I think I'm starting with the quarter ounces, which will be $12,000 at a time. And, that's very under the radar. But that's, I think, what I would do. So you're going to be, you might sell 5 ounces of silver at a time, not the full 20. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So again, the balloon, I have no fucking idea if it's even a Chinese satellite. How do you know? Who gives a fuck? What is it that they can't see that Biden doesn't tell them, and Hunter Biden? So keep in mind, the government's run by the Chinese anyway, so I don't know what the fuck. It makes no sense. It's like 9/11 was a gold robbery, and they're trying to make it into something that it wasn't. Bobby, not to get off subject, but I found a good meat market around here and got some frog legs and a slab of veal. That's good. If you got a good price, put it in your freezer before prices go up. As this goes out, prices are going to go up because you've devalued this, and prices don't really go up. Since you're devaluing this, it takes more of this to buy your frog legs. That's what's happening. So buy as much as you can of what you want, steaks, frog legs, veal, and put it in your freezer, or buy a new freezer and just load it with meat at these prices before the prices go up. Also frozen vegetables, maybe frozen blueberries, tuna, spaghetti, things that, even Cheerios, things that can last for a while that you don't really need. Like, you can eat like Cheerios or Raisin Bran without milk. So you can eat that kind of stuff. Popcorn, stock up on olive oil. But it's basically, I don't think they'll run out. I just think without the US dollar, Kroger's isn't going to buy anything. They don't want to take dollars. So the only people shopping at Kroger's are going to be me and you with our gold ounces, or silver ounces. And again, we're going to buy paper, not use the silver at Kroger's, as these idiots think. How am I going to use silver at Kroger's? Because you're going to buy whatever the medium of exchange, it's this dollar or the new dollar. That's what you're going to use to shop at Kroger's, not the fucking silver. These people are so fucking stupid. Are we that much smarter than everybody else, Bobby, that we're up here and then most of the population's down there? Is that what it is? Is that why I get so frustrated? Because these people are so fucking stupid that they don't understand. You don't go into a restaurant with a gold ounce. Yeah, you go in with your Rolex and you want to buy a steak dinner. Yeah. How do you pay with the Rolex? Oh my God, these people. How do I pay? I got a Mercedes. I want to buy steak. How do I buy it with my Mercedes? They're so fucking stupid. How do we live with these people, Bobby? Oh my God. But realize, Bobby, they're always watching you. They're watching your transactions is what they're doing, your phone calls. Okay. They don't give fuck about my purchase of 5 kangaroos. No, they don't, especially silver. What are they, $27 an ounce? Let's say 30. That's what did you spend, $150? They're not going to waste time on $150, and they don't care what you buy. What they care about is when you sell, not when you buy it. When you sell it is when it is. And But you're not giving your social security number anyway to these coin places. So, oops, I switched the digits on my social security. Oh, well, I don't know who's getting the 1099. It's not coming to me. I switched the 6 and 8 around, so I'll never get it. They might be watching our class. They're not smart enough. They should be, but they're not smart enough, right? They're watching these other idiots who say gold and silver are going up or gold and silver are going down. Oh, well, we mean derivative gold and silver, but we didn't say it in the title. We want you to watch it, and then we can show you how the derivative gold went down in 2008. And the derivative gold, that's not a real gold price, is going down now. That's what their videos are about, but they don't explain anything. They don't even get the concept. There's physical gold and paper gold. They don't get the fucking basic concept of I'm selling 1,000 ounces of paper. I'm going to sell you 1,000 ounces of gold, but really I'm not going to give you any of the gold. So when you buy it from me, you're not really getting any gold. How about that? Oh my God. Who would buy the gold? Who would buy 1,000-ounce gold contract and not collect the gold? Well, what the fuck is that? What are these people, just fucking idiots or what? So that's what I can't understand. No, if they were watching this class, probably we'd know about it. You would get some weird. Well, those are probably the idiots who ask us those questions like, "Are you for real? Am I? Who's the best soccer player? Let's talk WNBA." Those are the idiots that watch our class that are different. Anyway, football, Philly 1.5, 50.5. As I explained, JP Morgan will be on Kansas City because the line was KC minus 1.5 supposedly, but I never saw it. So now the money's on Philadelphia. Nick said he's in New Jersey. All the money that it's already up to 3 in New Jersey with his bookie at the bowling alley. All right, it's Philly minus 3, so he took KC at 9. But the rest of the world, it's 1.5 Philly. So I said, if Philly goes to 3, what happens? KC wins the game because JP Morgan will make heavy bets fixing the game on Kansas City because the money's on Philadelphia, and whoever they're betting on, the other side's going to win because that's what they do, fix everything. So I was watching Madoff, and they got JP Morgan got a $2 billion slap on the wrist. How come they never go to jail? They always get a fine for doing things illegally, like in gold, but they never go to jail. The answer is because they run the Department of Justice and the government. They're not going to put themselves in jail. So if I'm the judge and you keep getting arrested, I keep going, oh, Bobby's a good guy. So, Bobby, I'm slapping your wrist. You owe me $10,000. No jail time. Oh, well, you robbed the Fort Knox. Oh, but you're a good guy. $10,000 fine, no jail time. Oh, you bombed 9/11. You bombed the Trade Center. Okay, well, $10,000 fine, no jail time, Bobby. Because I'm the judge and you pay me off and you never go to jail, which is what JP Morgan does, which is what Vanguard with this new Nazi who's running it, and of course BlackRock. So they never go to jail because they own it, because they own all the politicians. So that's where we're all fucked. That's why I'm like ready to just find a little island to move to with my gold and silver and have our own little gold standard, because this is just unfucking believable. It's really, it's terrible. And this is why people probably don't want to learn, because they don't want to know what's going on. They don't want to know what this balloon was. They don't want to know that JP Morgan runs everything and runs the Fed and price fixes gold. And they don't want to know all that. They just, the gold's $1,900 today. Oh, well, and at 10 o'clock, I showed again at 10 o'clock down, at 10:30 up. Just like you watch every class I do from now on, Bobby. I will show you the gold price at 10 o'clock. And every day, 99 days out of 100, it's this. Once in a blue moon, it doesn't go down. Once in a blue moon, it does this, and it goes to China. That happens maybe 1 out of 200 days. 1 in 200 days, it'll go down and keep going down. And then 98 out of the other 100 days, it does this. And all you got to do is wait. You don't even buy it there. You wait till it starts going up. Then you buy it. So you give up $1 or $2. And then it boom, boom, boom. And then as soon as it starts diving, you get the fuck out. You make money every day with no risk. You just wait for that 10 o'clock and then go up. What is that? That's price fixing, right? That's fucked up. It's not real. So at 10 o'clock every day, people are selling gold. Why? Why are they selling gold at 10? That's when London fixes the thing. And then you do the same at 4 o'clock. So you don't want to be in it overnight because you're going to get fucked at 10 o'clock again. So you're better off buying at 10:30, selling at about 2 o'clock, and then coming back in the next day at 10:30 than you are buying it at 10:30. It goes up, and then you're stuck, and then you didn't sell at 4. Then what happens the next day at 10 o'clock? It drops. You're fucked because you're still in it from the day before. So you always want to clear out. By 4 o'clock, you want to be out of the gold. And these are gold stocks. This is Newmont Mining, let's say. And they're all the same. Every gold stock you can find, 10 o'clock down and then up. And so you're in Newmont Mining. So it's the gold stocks because you can't buy gold. If I went to my guy's store, I don't think at 10 o'clock the price is down. He's lowering the price. And then at 10:15, he starts raising the price. He pretty much is, if he's 1900, he's pretty much 1900 all day. But I'll probably buy another 20 of silver. So I think I can get to 500. I get my Social Security tomorrow. I think what we do is I'll buy 20 tomorrow and then 20 soon, before the shit hits the fan, and get to 500. I think I'm at 450. That includes the 37 Highland Mint, Joe Montana's, Emmett Smith's. Sorry, Bobby, you weren't in a Highland Mint. I would have bought you if you were in a Highland Mint. But I didn't buy Barry either. I got McGuire and Clemens and mostly football. Marino, Montana, Rice, and then Mario Lemieux, Bobby Orr. Those guys I'd go after. I did get a Kobe one, which really shot up after he died. And I got a Jordan one, but Kobe's worth more than the Jordan. So when Kobe rapes the girl, his value goes down. But when he dies, his value goes up. Interesting. So anyway, that's kind of what we do. So we want to buy assets. This 1099 crap, we will be creative. We either go to Switzerland or Europe and sell it, where they're not going to 1099 us. We open an account in Switzerland and let the guy put the money in the account so we're not traveling with it. And then we can transfer it in wherever we end up living. Or we, when we buy it, we simply give the wrong social number, or we pay the guy a couple $100 not to 1099 us. There's all sorts of ways. The government's probably going to look for $50,000 transactions when gold hits 50,000. So we'll say, give me 30,000 in cash and two $10,000, $299.99 PayPals, and we'll call it a day. And he makes money. So he never saw me, and he did that, and nowhere can it be found. That's my way around it. Thinking like the real professor. Bobby gives me his, and I give him 50 grand. I'm not going to 1099 them, but they're going to come after me. What did you give Bobby 50 grand for? That's what we got to worry about, Bobby. What did I give you 50 grand for? And that's, that's how we got to avoid it, by not making it obvious. So here's 30 grand, Bobby, and two 10 grand PayPals. Or I'm going to give you $100 every other week till I give you 50 grand. But once I get the gold, I can't do that. I got to pay you once that happens. That's why you buy half ounce and quarter ounce and tenth of an ounce gold. So you're not needing to get the 50 grand that way. You can do a lot of little transactions, and or the silver. Once it's 2,000 an ounce, okay, here's 3 ounces of silver, $6 grand. And I'll do that every week for 6 months if I need money like that. But there'll be a point we're not going to want to give up like all the gold and silver. You're only going to give up a little because it's waiting for the new currency to come out. So this goes to zero. How are we even going to do tax returns? What am I going to owe them? Or what are they going to, how am I going to get a refund? That's where people are really going to get fucked. They're going to try to do their tax return to get refunds. How are you going to get paid? They're not going to have US dollars. Are you going to get paid the new currency? Are you going to get paid the digital, which that's 10 years away, if it even comes? So how are you going to, the new US currency that's going to be issued is what we're going to pay. So you're going to have to wait till 2024 when the new currency comes out to get paid. Really? Okay. And what do I use? I made 80 grand. That's of this currency. What did I make in the new currency? It wasn't 80 grand. I don't know what the value of the new currency is. They're really fucked. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do tax returns this year because it's not going to be, I bet you they fuck everybody over. So you'll get a refund at $20,000 and then they're going to switch dollars and say, sorry. Hopefully we get the offset of the credit cards and the mortgages and the car loans that will then go away. And then so your tax refund will go away. Anything to do with the money, once it collapses and they issue the new money, you're basically fucked if you're waiting for money. So don't wait for money. Bobby, but once we get the 1099, how will we remember how much we got it for since we only have all the receipts or didn't get one a few times either? How much we got it for? Well, you're just going to put down, you'll probably put down, it depends where it goes. If it goes 2 to 50, if it goes right to 50, I don't know. As I said, I'm putting 2 to 50, but I don't make any money on the Social Security, so I don't care. So I can say, I bought it for 2, I sold it for 50. So they're really not going to, first of all, it's just like it's like speeding, right? Do they really pull you over for speeding? So as long as you put something reasonable, they're not going to audit you. They're not going to do anything. They just want to scare you. That's what the government does. They scare you. So they're not going to have somebody audit everything. They're just going to look at the funny things. So if you say it's 12 months, they're going to say, well, gold was $1,000, $2,000 an ounce. How can you put 30? But if you wait a while, and gold does go up a little. See, so right now you could get away I spent $2,000, $2,100 on gold. But right now it's still at $2,000, $2,100. So it's a wash right now. So you're going to say, I sold it for $2,100. I bought it for $2,100. It's a zero. So there's no point. But when it hits 50, you're going to probably put 4 or 5 and say, I don't have a receipt. I paid cash for it. What are they going to do? They'll, if they audit you, which is slim and none, only the ones they'll audit is gold hits 100,000 and you say you bought it for 75,000. How long is it going to be 75,000 an ounce? A week? Depends how fast it moves. So now it's been at 2,000. So if you put 2,000, nobody would give a fuck. They'd say, yeah, okay, that's probably right. If it just jumps, but if it slowly goes 20, 30, 40, 50, and it's there for a while, you can easily say you bought it for 20 and you sold it for 50. You can easily do that. I didn't keep a receipt. I paid cash. I just wanted to get my money out of the bank, and they really probably can't do anything. And they probably only if you say I bought it for 50 and I sold it for 50, then that would be a red flag. So they're looking. I audit once in a while. Mostly I audit my football, and so that's what you're looking for. Wait a minute, Bobby said he bought it for 50 and he sold it for 50. Doesn't seem very logical that he would buy it. 2 weeks ago when it hit 50 and now he's selling it for 50. Why would you do that? So maybe after a year, you'd buy it for 50 and sell it for 80, but it's got to be at that price. So it's been at 2,000. So if anybody puts 2,000, nobody's going to question it. So the question is going to be, how long is it at each 3,000 or 30,000, 40, 50? If it jumps from 2 to 50, and then you try to say, well, I bought it for 50 and now I'm selling it for 50, I'd have a problem. I go, come on, Bobby. How can you why would you do that? Why would you sell it after you just bought it for 50? Oh, I needed the money. Okay, maybe. And then you prove what you did with the 50. Maybe that would go, but generally probably not. Again, you're better off showing zero income. You're better off having your somebody you can trust, some girl who doesn't have a tax return. One of your girlfriends just go and do it that you trust, and then goes on her tax return, and she doesn't have income, so it doesn't matter. That would be the way to do it. Or somebody doesn't file taxes, right? Somebody without Social Security, or you give the wrong social. Or something. I don't even know if they ask for social. I've never been asked for social at the coin place. He takes my credit card and off he goes, but I've never sold. So I got to ask, if I go in tomorrow, okay, if I want to sell an ounce of silver, what do you require? Are you requiring a Social Security number? Or if I don't have a card, I want the money, you're not going to take it? So we'll see, but it would be related to Social Security. That's how it goes on your tax return. That's how they audit you. So we'll have to see. But I would buy smaller stuff. So what I would do if I were you, Bobby, well, you got mostly ounces of silver. That's not going to be a big, maybe it hits 3,000. Okay, so sell 5 at a time, right? Don't sell all 20, sell 5. And then you can go eat at the barbecue place, or at the Chinese, at the Thai. I mean, yeah, here's my Rolex. How do you want me to pay? Here's my, I drove in a Mercedes, so what are you gonna, how do you get your $20? Because I drove in my Mercedes. God, these people are, isn't it the dumbest thing you've ever heard, Bobby? Oh my God. Oh, good. We're talking wrestling. Like Ric Flair, he didn't do taxes. Well, Ric Flair, I'm sure, had to, or he went to jail, one or the other. I've heard Vince McMahon lended him a substantial amount of money to pay taxes he hadn't paid, or something like that. Vince McMahon bought him pig ears. There you go. Well, yeah, I guess when you're Ric Flair, you don't think you owe taxes. I'm sure he'd be in jail if he didn't pay it. So I could see McMahon lending him money to pay off his taxes. And he'd owed a lot of taxes. That guy, I assume wrestlers make $100,000, $200,000, $300,000, especially a Ric Flair, a Hogan, a Hart, Stone Cold. These guys, The Rock, probably makes a lot of money. The Rock must make a ton of money as a movie star. You should have got into that movie star stuff, Bobby. You could have played with The Rock, and you could have wrestled with him. He could have pitched to you. He does all those sports movies. You could be the coach instead of him. It could be Bobby's team, and you could teach them all how to hit and throw. That's what you should do, Bobby. Anyway, yeah, I mean, you've got to. It's the red flags they look at. So if you say you sold it for 50 grand, because that's what's on the 1099, and you bought it for 50, that's the red flag. If you bought it, even if you say 5 grand, nobody's going to question it. But because it's at 2,000 for so long, if you said you paid 2,000, nobody's going to question. You don't need the receipt for that. You need the receipt if you paid 50. I was on New York Undercover back into that. Very good. Were you like the captain? Or were you like one of the snipers or something? Did you get the girl? I gotta watch those episodes. I do remember it. I never watched it. I don't like watching cop shows. I'd rather watch Money Heist. I want to watch the criminals at work and take notes. But I kind of remember it. I'll take a look because I have like the antenna, so I get Cozy TV, so I watch Vegas every night and Hogan's Heroes. So I'll look for New York Undercover. What season and episode were you on? Because that's what I noticed a lot. They list, Vegas season 4, episode 5. James Caan, gets shot or something like that. So I don't know. I'll have to see if it's on, but I'll look. I'll look for you, Bobby. Does it actually like Bobby, takes down the mob or something like that? You probably had the girls anyway. You're probably out with the girls at the club and undercover. So were you an undercover guy or were you the bad guy? Interesting. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure a lot of these, like guys like Dennis Rodman, I doubt he ever did taxes. He probably wouldn't know what they are. Uh, so that would be funny. But in sports, if they have like the team, gives you guys to do your taxes. No, I was a guy working with the detectives. I was in the scene where the bad guy noticed that I was wearing a wire and he pistol whipped me. How the fuck did he find that out, Bobby? I would have thought you'd have been a little more careful than to let him know you were wearing a wire. So this is my point. I think a lot of these actors and actresses are idiots because they don't get that this is their image and their brand when they're on TV. So, like the idiot in Gladiator, the bad guy, the wimpy son, he's scarred for life. I mean, this guy is going to be a fucking idiot his whole life. If I saw him in the street, I would never say hello to him. If he's at the grocery line, I wouldn't let him in. I'd say, fuck you. You're a fucking loser. I don't want anything to do with you. But if I saw Gladiator, I saw Ric Flair, I'd let him cut in front of me. So they don't get it's the brand. I would never take that kind of role. I would never take this Gladiator role, who was the bad guy, or I would never take your role. Or if I did take your role, I'd say, no, I'm too smart to let him see my wire. I will not let him see my wire. That's how I would have played it. I would never act like an idiot or like I'm stupid. I would always be the bright guy. I would always be the professor. Just like here, I am the smart guy. I am the professor here, not the fucking idiot who doesn't know how to pick a game or can't tell you about economics. So when you see me, you are seeing my brand as I am smart, intelligent. I got my shit together. That's the brand. Now I'm not acting though. This is me. Who can act like this? So that's the difference is I'm actually showing my brand out there. But there's no acting at all going on. This is just me. Um, you're right, Professor, but I was just young idiot who wanted the money. Well, no, okay, you wanted the money. Who knows what it could have led you to, Bobby? Maybe you could have been manager of the Mets. If they saw that intelligence going, fuck, Bobby, he hit the wire. They couldn't find it on him. We want to you're our third base coach, Bobby. Come on. We're going to make you the manager, and maybe you go coach the Giants and stuff like that. I mean, that's really where you could have excelled to was, and I met the New York Football Giants. Is that you show that intelligence, people think you're smart. You show the wire, people think you're stupid. Oh fuck! Why didn't he cover the wire up? Because they don't know it's acting. See, when we watch TV. I know some people look at it as a movie and it's not acting, but in my world, I'm not looking at it as acting. I'm looking at the guy. This is the guy. Uh, Porn always confuses me because you're actually thinking it's real. I mean, how is it not real? But I think in porn, it's the girl who's acting, right? She's like, it's the greatest thing in life, and it really isn't. I think that's where, like they'll say porn's fake. That's where I think they get it from is, yeah, every time the girl's squealing. Well, that's the fake part. I mean, the sex is real. You can't fake that. It's going in. You can see that. That's real. So I think it's the girl having the great time is that's where porn is. But that's, I think, in the movies or the TV shows where the acting comes in is, are they really like that, right? And that's where the acting comes in. But I'm too honest to act like I would be natural, like like I'd be like Sean Connery. I'd always have the same accent, and I basically am playing myself in every role. I thought you meant San Francisco Giants, Coach Barry. No, the New York Giants. You're better a football coach. Yeah, you could coach the San Francisco Giants too, I guess. You'd be better in football. You could, it's coaching makes a big difference in football. I don't know what the fuck it does in baseball. What are you going to do? Go up to Barry like how to hit? You're going to bat him third. You're going to bat yourself fourth. You're going to bat McCovey fifth. You're going to bat Willie Mays sixth. I mean, what is managing in baseball? You're not doing anything. You got a pitching coach. You set the lineup, and you just say, fuck you, I'm not counting the pitches. My pitcher's going as long as he wants. I expect 200 pitches from him a game, and he's pitching on 3 days rest. That's how I'm managing. That's it. There's no decisions. When am I going to pitch hit you and Barry and McCovey? I ain't pitch hitting you guys. What do you got to be kidding me? Oh, lefty against righty. Yeah, fuck that. The ball comes over the plate, hit it. Come on, you don't need to be lefty or righty to hit a lefty or righty. So that would be my way of thinking of it, would be strictly like that. It would never be anything else. It would be that. It would just be. So I'd rather, I think, coach a football team. I'd never go for it on fourth down. I'd never go for two unless it was even at the end of the game, I'd be going for the tie, not the loss, right? And then I'd never go fourth down in my own turn. It'd be all field position, but my defense would be the best defense in the league. And then I'd have a good quarterback who would not be a running quarterback, and I'd be running the ball. So I need a good running back, a good quarterback, and a strong defense, and a good punter who can actually put it into the coffin corner where if my guy is at the 50-yard line and he punts it into the end zone, he's gone. That's it. You got to angle it out at the 10-yard line, the 5-yard line. If you can't do that, you're not a professional punter. Goodbye. That's it. I mean, and if my punt returner fumbles the ball, I give him one. If he fumbles it once, he never sees the field again, and he's going to pack groceries at the grocery. There's no way I'm having a punt returner who can't catch the ball. I mean, what the fuck is that? And who was that? What was it, Dallas or somebody recently? The guy fumbled the one, and guess who's there again? The same guy to fumble again. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing back there? Special teams coach, you're fired. Guy who's receiving it's fired. My punter can't kick it out of bounds, he's fired. My punter for Cincinnati, you're fired. You punted it into the middle of the field, even with all the bad penalties that should have been called weren't. KC got the ball at the 50. Why didn't you put the ball out of bounds at the 35? Game's over. We go to overtime. Why would you punt it to the guy? Do you think that's good to punt it to the guy in the middle of the field and he returns it 25 yards? No, you're punting it out of bounds. And if you don't know how to punt it out of bounds and you can't teach yourself, then I'll get somebody who can. I don't care if it's some Ole Miss or Michigan or Arkansas State. I'm finding a punter who can punt the ball outside, out of bounds at the 10-yard line. That's my punter. That's how I coach football, but you can't do it in baseball. There's nothing you can do. What am I going to do? I hate the shift. It's the stupidest thing in the world because are you telling me I know you could do this, Bobby? I could do this. I'm a right-handed hitter, okay? I could hit the ball up the second base hole every time. If I wanted to, I would close my stance and I'd wait for the ball and I could hit it between first and second or between second base and second baseman 100% of the time if I wanted to. So you're going to shift me to the left? I'll hit 1,000. I'll hit the ball to second base every fucking time. And I'll be happy with the single. That's part of the game. But the hell if I'm walking The hell if I'm not stealing, and I'm sure, Bobby, you could spray it to all fields. If you're a major league hitter, I just don't understand this whole spread and this whole, again, they're listening to analytics, which don't work. It's the stupidest thing. Okay, nothing new. So that's how I would manage football or coach football, the simple things. Otherwise, if my quarterback sits there and doesn't understand there's a blitz coming and he fumbles and we lose a game touchdown, he's gone. But I'd be grabbing my quarterbacks from Fresno State and all these Western Kentuckies, like, fuck this Alabama, Ohio State shit. These guys can't quarterback. So I wouldn't be doing anything with those guys. I'd be with the other guys. Anyway, 3 hours and 40 minutes later, I think I need to eat and I need to take a break. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So tomorrow I hopefully get my check. I go to the coin store. I'll check that out for us and check out vacations and 1099s and all that fun stuff. How should I make my veal? Well, yeah, these GMs are garbage. Yeah. Well, is it like a steak or is it like a roast? So if it's a big thick piece, what I do is I bake it at 320, 330. You marinate it with salt, pepper, a little bit of maybe turmeric, and then I put basil, it's very sweet, and then I'll put my French dressing and my olive oil. Oh no, on meat I put Thousand Island or Italian. So I'll put a little bit of olive oil with Italian, mix it up, and spread it over the meat. And I bake it for 70 minutes at 320 or so. And it's in a pan. I keep it moist. So as it starts getting that thing, I keep spraying it or, using the brush. And I turn it over once, at least my roast I do, and let that kind of cook all the way through. But it's thick, right? I just had that English roast. It's just thick. Now, I don't know what you have. Looks like a thick steak. What's the size? 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds? My English steak, I normally like 3-pounders, was 2.5 pounds. So I baked it. I did not cook it. If you can broil it, I would broil it. I like it better broiled or on the grill than baked. I would prefer it broiled, but depends how thick it is. If it's thicker than your New York strips or Delmonico's that you normally broil, you probably want to bake this. I don't think it matters if you bake it or broil it. A little different in taste, but I'd still throw your barbecue sauce on it near the end for that taste. But I guess it depends how big it is, Bobby. Are you talking 3 pounds or it's a big thing of veal? I got to look for buffalo. You guys are telling me about buffalo. I think I'll look. 2 pounds. That's probably a bake. The biggest steaks I ever cook is usually 1.25 pounds or so. Once they get to 2 pounds, they're pretty thick, and you can't really, if you broil them, they burn on the outside, and you don't cook the inside, and you can't cut them. You can't cut them in half. So you basically have to bake them so you get the inside cooked because you can't broil. You'll burn the outsides before you get to the middle cooked. So if it's thick and if it's like this and it's 2 pounds, you probably want to bake it. Yeah, but to me they're like a roast, I would think. So you know the difference. The roast are the thick meat, and the steaks are much thinner. So I like, and to me, you get a roast that's cheap. It's like $4 a pound, $5 a pound for a roast. Why spend $10 on a New York strip? For $5 I can get a 3-pound roast that it's going to last me for a while. So you're going to eat all that 2 pounds tonight, Bobby? You're gonna go through the whole roast probably. Have your salad with it, with your Ken's French dressing I showed you. So do that. I'm getting hungry. I think I want to go get my barbecue, but I think I'm going to do that tomorrow. I got a couple burgers left. I think I'll make an omelet. It's really good yesterday. I baked my hamburger omelet. Oh, it's so fucking good. That's what I live for. That's why I get the hamburger a lot, is to make I either get sloppy joes or I make it into hamburgers. But for the flavor, it's better in an omelet than just nuking a hamburger and eat it, because I don't have buns. I won't eat buns, so it doesn't make sense for me to just nuke it up. Laugh my ass off. Most likely have it on the weekend. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's a Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl veal. Okay. Yeah, get the Chinese on Saturday and cook the veal on Sunday, because you want to kind of eat it right after you cook it. You don't really want to cook it and then throw it in the fridge and then nuke it up. You kind of want to cook it and then eat it. Now, make sure when you cook it, you let it cool down for about 10 minutes to thaw, to kind of get the flavor in it. You don't want to just cook it, take it out of the oven, and eat it. You want to let it rest, give it about 10 minutes to rest, and then eat it. The frog legs are for the Super Bowl. Now, how do you make them? Well, I watched Mahomes whip some ass. Well, Ric Flair is going to be on the sidelines, I hear, because Mahomes might need to know how to do a figure four and how to fake the injury. So he's going to have Rick there. How do you make frog legs? And are they, so I assume they're like making chicken legs? I mean, is that what they look like? Or is it an actual frog and you got to cook the frog and like a lobster? The lobster's got to be alive. You know what else is alive? Are oysters and mussels. They have to be alive when you cook them and you boil them. If the shell, like you run the shell over cold water when you do mussels, right? And if the shell's open, you got to throw it away because it's dead. And you're really eating live mussels. Like you're heating them up. And I assume I don't know if you're killing them or not because they're in their shell, but it makes the shell open. That's when you eat them. If the shell's already open, you can't eat it. It's dead. It's not good to eat. So keep that in mind if you ever have mussels or oysters. Yeah. Up you like oysters, Professor. Yeah, well, whatever you're saying. Yeah, I like oysters and mussels. They're not the healthiest foods, but for a one-off for a Super Bowl party, yeah. And you really just put them under cold water and then you just heat them up. I think you just put them in a boiling water and for a few minutes, and then they open. You want them all to open, so you want them closed, cold water to wash them in the hot water, and they all open, and then that's when you eat them. If they're open before, you cannot eat them. They are dead and not to eat. So tell me about the frog legs. Are they like chicken legs and you're just putting them and barbecuing them? Or are they actual frogs and you're putting in the hot water and they're hopping out because it's hot water, and then you're just killing the frog and snapping their legs off? Do these typos are all over the place? Yeah, Bobby, you make a lot of typos, but that's because you're intelligent and you think too fast. So they are actual frog legs. So it's not the whole frog, it's just the leg. Look just like frogs. I'll have to see what the frog legs look like. I'll check that out. So let's see, frog legs. Let's see if we can get this picture of what the fuck Bobby's doing with frog legs. So is that what you're getting? So you just what? Are you barbecuing these? Or are you putting them in? Are you baking them? Are you putting them in hot water? That's a good set of legs there. They look strong. The thighs look really strong. I do notice the little white dressing by the side to dip them in. 5 pounds for 226. Is that a good price, Bobby? How about goat? I also going to buy some deer. Yeah, they look like that, but not sure if breading them. Well, you don't have to bread them. This is like they're selling you 5 pounds for 226. Let's see what else they got. These are frozen. What did they do with the bodies? What if you want to eat like the arms or the head? Here you go. How about these? So what's so good? Why would I get these instead of chicken? Or are they the same thing as chicken? Well, let's read this article. U.S. Mint to increase prices on silver metals. Interesting. Let's read this article. Hello. I don't know. It wouldn't open up. That doesn't matter. It's only if you buy the 2023 Silver American, which you don't need to buy. You can buy the 22s. You're going to go buy some deer. Yes, they look like that, but not sure, Brad. Like my ass. Get this girl of mine to make them as Bobby Bo is not the best cook. Oh, watch some Gordon Ramsay, Bobby. That's what I did. And then you go, fuck, all he has is uses a bunch of spices and a bunch of sugar, and that's how he cooks. Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay has a channel. I'll just make the cheese curds and let her cook thermal and frog legs. I like having different meats. All taste different. I've never had deer, and well, maybe once. And to me, it's all chicken and meat. I mean, that's all it is. I just assume I have the hamburger and steaks and roast and ribs. If I want different, I have ribs or steak and then hamburgers and roast. That's how I get my variety or the chicken. The problem with fish is it's so expensive, and the salmon that's farmed is bad for you because they're all sitting in their same shit, and it's all you're in a farm. They have nowhere to go, so you don't want to eat. It's all bad. The farm raised salmon, so you got to get wild, but it's so expensive. I love lamb medium rare. Some good lamb. Yeah, lamb chops, but they're very expensive too. Yeah, lamb chops are good if you can get them at a decent price. Um, but that's kind of what I just eat. Regular meat. Like for my treat, I go get Chinese, or I'll get the ribs, and I make hamburger. And some days I make sloppy Joe, and some days I make steak. That's kind of my variety versus the other things. But anyway, all right, I'm hitting my limit. So I will talk to you later. See you tomorrow. That's today, Wednesday. So hopefully I get my check and I'll go to the coin store and off I go to report what I see. I'll probably go before the show as long as I got my stuff. I'll go so I could report it tomorrow. As far as 1099, send your girlfriend. If you misuse your social security number, oh well, and go from there. You're welcome, Bobby. Glad to see you. Everybody else, Nick, Phil, where were you? Phil owes us some gold, some silver, Bobby. If you missed the class, it's 5 silver. So Phil owes us some 5 silvers. Anyway, have a good day. Good luck. Hope everything's okay. All right, www.teaserking.com. Again, we're taking the dog in the Super Bowl with the over. The dog right now is Kansas City 7.5. Whatever the JP Morgan team is fixing is who we need to get that information from. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day. Take care.